I got a strange going on out here. Something just killed my dog.
Something killed your dog?
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Cryptid Podcast Saturday night live stream. I'm your host, Dano. I've got my lovely co-host, awesome co-hosts, Maggie and Sabrina with us. You guys, we are going to talk about water cryptids. That's right, water cryptids, from the Loch Ness Monster to, let's see if I can remember the name of it. It was Gwashi or something like that. That's like up in the Michigan Merman. I guess that's what they're calling him. But Maggie's got some stuff where she's going to talk about, and Sabrina definitely has some. She has that native tie, so hopefully we get some of the native folklore going on in this. But you guys, before we really get into the show and get it started, so I want to say thank you so much for supporting this show. Thank you so much. If you have ever had an encounter, or you know someone that has and would maybe be interested in coming in on the show, then go ahead and shoot me an email at thecryptidpodcast72@gmail.com. And also, just so you guys know, last month's giveaway winner did not claim their prize. So I'm rolling back out that giveaway. So for one of those hats, if you are not a member and you'd like to become one, go ahead and join. Unfortunately, you will not be able to do it on your mobile device. You may be able to do it on a tablet or an iPad, but you definitely you can do it on your computer or laptop. Membership is $2.99 a month. With that membership, you get an exclusive early access to a Saturday release, which is, I do that once a month. Let's see, what else do I got going on? I don't know. I think that's it. Oh, and with that hat, you guys, I got some other stuff. I got some stuff it's in the mail. So I'll be slipping a one or two of those things in there for you as well. I'm not going to tell you what they are yet, not until I get them in hand. So other than that, you guys, thank you so much for all the support. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Subscribing, liking, sharing, and commenting is all free, you guys. So who's ready to get into the show? Let's wait till we get a few more people in, and then we'll go ahead and start it. So Maggie, how you been? Sabrina, how you been?
I have been well. Busy but good. How about you, Dan? Sabrina?
Likewise, busy but good. Very busy.
Busy but naughty. No, I've been super busy. Super busy. Just this past week, even though it was a 2-day work week for me, it was super, super long. Those last 2 days were crazy. You guys know why, but I flew out to Seattle on Monday and came back Tuesday. And that 24-hour turnaround was brutal. I don't remember things being that. I was exhausted. Exhausted. Hey, what's up, Jason? Mr. Bo Ballard, Ashes, Patrick, what's up, dude? Steamboat. Who else am I missing in here? Greasebag McQueen's in here. What's up, buddy? Brianna, how's it going? Rick, hello, sir. Who else? Cindy, how's it going? And who else am I missing? Anybody? I got everybody so far. Wade, what's up, buddy? Wade. Yo, what's up, Harley? All right, you guys. You know, we're just gonna go and get into some stuff. Ben, what's up, buddy? Hey, kids. Well, hello there, sir. You guys, we're gonna get into these amazing, lesser-known cryptids. I mean, okay, we all know about the Loch Ness Monster, and what are some other ones that Hi Jenny, how are you? What are some other, what's the one that's in is there one in Lake Erie?
Is that the dragon looking one? Or I think they were attributing that to the Loch Ness Monster as well, or something similar maybe?
Similar to that, yeah, too. Yeah. There's the water dragon one, which is the one I was going to talk about, which is the Pishu, which is a guardian of the copper deposits between
I heard about that one.
Michigan's northern peninsula, Canada, and the Apostle Islands over towards Wisconsin. Nice. This particular creature is said to protect the deposits of copper, have legend and lore of dumping canoes very much like to prey on children and women in the water, frightening them, but they said they could be friend or foe. So if you were, good to your body of water and took care of it and didn't abuse it, it was good to you. But if you were, molesting the copper mines or overfishing, then you were at the mercy of the Mishu Pishu.
Huh.
I don't want to be the mercy of nothing.
It's an Ojibwe water creature.
Oh.
Bessie is associated with Lake Erie.
Okay, Bessie. What about Oinga Boinga or Opie Popey or whatever? There's another one out there somewhere, man. I don't know. Obi Trice. I don't know. But hey, so you guys, I'm going to go ahead and read about the Michigan Merman. Now, this is an old one. This took place in Montreal, Quebec, Canada in 1812. So let's see if this is a long one. Oh, my goodness. Well, I mean, it looks like it has a lot more to it, but I'll just read the first one about 1812, and then I'll go back and I'll read the second part of it because I guess it's a pretty long one. So this is how you spell it, you guys. It's called Maymayg as in golf, Washi. And I assume that means the Michigan Merman. Vanet Saint Germain sat down at the bar and nodded to the bartender. "One mug, Samuel," he said firmly. The young man moved swiftly behind the counter, filling a mug until the foam reached the brim before setting it down in front of the weathered man, looking back at him. "You did it, huh? You actually went before the court of the king's bench and signed an affidavit claiming that you saw the creature?" Samuel asked, shaking his head. "You dang right. I may have been 30 years. It may have been 30 years ago, but I can still see that thing with my mind like it was just yesterday." Samuel shrugged. "If you say so, well, I do say so, and you'd be smart to respect things you don't understand." "You're a crazy old coot, you know that?" Samuel said, as he moved to the customers to the other end of the bar, leaving Vanat with his mug of brew and his thoughts that took him back to that strange day. Okay, you guys, I'm going to read it. I'm going to read that strange day. Okay, because this is the actual. So Vanat and his three-man crew set up camp at Pie Island on Lake Superior. The men tired from trapping all day, sat around the fire, enjoying some much-deserved rum. It took the edge off of the aching in their backs from portaging all those miles the day before. A kettle warmed over the fire. The woman, their Ojibwe guide, stirred it occasionally. "I'm going down to check the fishing nets," Vanat said. "Find us a trout or a nice juicy walleye to go with our beans," one of the men said. "Or maybe a lobster," another said. He tilted his head back as he raised a leather canteen to his lips. "Maybe I'll wrestle a wild boar on the way and bring it back for a ham roast," Vanat said as he reached down and grabbed the skin of rum from the man's hand. Then he took a long swig. "I do like ham," the other man said. Vanat laughed as he dropped the container back into the man's lap. "Well, I'll see what I can do." The fire cracked about 100 yards behind Vanat as he neared the edge of the water. The moon hung high in the clear sky, its light shimmering on the deep, dark water that stretched before him. The stillness of the night made the surface of the lake look like a sheet of dark glass. But something in the moonlight caught Vanat's eyes. About as far in from Vanat as the camp was, behind him, there appeared to be a person bobbing about. Cocking his head to one side, Vanat squinted his eyes. That form, it wasn't quite a person. It was childlike in stature, appeared to have brown skin that glistened in the moonlight. Curly hair covered its face, and large, dark eyes stared back at Vanat. Slowly, the thing raised one arm into the air and placed the other on its hip. Vanat stumbled backwards, not believing his own eyes. Although much of the creature's lower half was immersed in the lake, Vanette could see that its hips, its upper thigh, appeared to belong to a fish. Hey, come here and see this, Vanette yelled towards the camp. There's a creature. He ran quickly back to the fire and retrieved his musket. The others stopped talking and watched his odd behavior, amused expression on their face. There's a creature. It's in the water, part human, part fish. At the look in their eyes, the men stopped laughing. Meme Gwashi, the Ojibwe woman said in awe, almost to herself. The others barely noticed. The men hurried after Vanette, but the woman moved faster, reaching him first. At the shoreline, Vanette raised his gun to take aim at the creature that was still bobbing in the water. No! The Ojibwe woman cried. She tugged hard on Vanette's sleeves, throwing him off aim. You must not shoot the god from the water and the lakes. Vanette studied the woman whose hand still clutched desperately to his arm. Then he looked back to the water just as the creature slipped below the surface. Only a rippling circle remained in its wake. What was it? Vanette whispered. Meme Gawashi, the woman replied. She released her hand and cast her eyes to the ground. If you kill it, you could be cursed forever. Just raising your gun at it will cause terrible storms to strike us. She looked to the sky with worry. Vanette gazed towards the cloudless sky. It was so clear that the stars sparkled like a layer of fairy dust. He shook his head. Over the years, he had been trapping and trading. His respects for the Ojibwe had even grown fonder. But the idea of a creature that was a merman god who could now cause terrible storms on a perfectly clear night was beyond his ability to believe. In the early morning hours, the rain rolled in. The heavens echoed with thunder, and the sky was electrified with lightning. The waters on the vast Lake Superior rose so quickly that the trappers and their guide had to rush to higher ground. They hardly had time to rescue their canoes and equipment from the thrashing, rising waves. They stayed for 3 days before the rain finally relented and the waters calmed enough for them to leave the island. As they canoed away, Vanette looked back. He felt uneased. He surveyed the water for more signs of the merman. He only saw dark waters and foam, turned by the water's constant lapping against the rocky ledges. The image of the creature would be burned in his memory forever. He vowed never again to raise his rifle at the Meme Gawashi. That's crazy. There's truth to it. There's truth to it. So what's going on, everybody? Hey, Rasting's in here. What's up, buddy? Who else do we got in here? Did I miss anybody? Rasting.
Pork chops is here.
Pork chops.
Pork chops and applesauce. Let's see, we got... I know I saw Christian in here. I saw her jump in here. Who else do we have in here? Yep, there she is. I see her. Christian. She's in here. Nessie pick was a hoax. The pick we always see that doesn't mean that things don't still exist in there, but the picture was admitted as a hoax. I did hear that as well.
I've never heard that.
Yeah, I heard that.
That makes me so sad.
Yep. That's what I heard. And I was like, come on, man.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Everybody got to burst our bubble all the time. Huh?
I know. Hey, does anybody have any birthdays that are like soon or past? Yeah, well, I'll bring it over from anybody who remembers me on Josh's live podcast. If someone had a birthday, I would sing them happy birthday. So I'm going to bring that back.
That's awesome.
Fidgy's here. Yeah, you're the man. I'm glad to see you here. Be here with you. Oh, yeah, thanks, you guys. I'm so glad all you guys are here. So let's continue this on. We're going to do like 2 or 3 more stories, and then we'll do some question and answers, and then we'll do some more stories, and then we'll do some stuff like that. So everybody good with that?
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
See, so you're just telling us you want your... Hey, Racing, I'm all I always sing, man. Like I'll hear songs on the radio, and I just make up my own. I make up my own words to it. So all the time. So all right. How about Sabrina? You go ahead and jump in and tell us about your, your tickle me Elmo.
I can't.
Daniel, you almost made me spit my coffee right to
Elmo.
my
Joe Mama, what up?
That was pure nightmare fuel, and I.
No shit, yeah.
What was?
The Elmo you just did.
Elmo likes fun.
Yeah. Tickle me nightmares now.
Tickle me, no.
Elmo likes getting tickled.
Get a boot to the face.
Off the rails we go.
Oh man.
Hold on to your wigs.
So bear with me while I read this cryptid that I found. Bear with me while I also try to pronounce these names. It's going to be one of those nights where we're just trying to pronounce every word in here. So the cryptid that I found is an ancient, supposedly, I'm talking, this lore goes back 800 to 1200 years, if not further back from, most being an oral tradition.
I'm sorry.
Please don't.
Sorry.
I will literally
point that out.
Sabrina, Elmo sees you.
Wade, come on, buddy, you can't. I'm scared.
Where's your Chucky voice, Dan? You gotta have one.
I don't have that one. I wish I did.
I don't know. Elmo's kind of scary enough.
Yeah, that's scary enough. I was thinking, Chucky to tame it down.
No,
Elmo's gonna kill you. No.
Is my signal breaking up?
Oh, my, look at the time.
I think I gotta go. Oh man. Okay, so this is just gonna keep going. The cryptid's name is the Maha. So basically this cryptid is up towards Canada, close to like the ice caps, things like that. Around Alaska, kind of like all the way. It was just kind of like different areas. Key visual elements are they are gaunt, very tall. They're pretty much like the rake, I guess, but they're not necessarily the rake. If you want to call it a rake, it would be like the frozen rake. They say that they're bluish gray, frost-bitten body, sunken eyes, distorted grin. Some of them are seen with stringy black hair, clawed fingers that they supposedly tickle you to death with. They are seen as barefoot and bare-chested, never wearing any clothes. But that just kind of freaked me out because I'm thinking, if you're out in the ice or out there in the tundra or anywhere like that and you see something gangly, like 7 foot
and
tall,
naked, you might want to leave.
Naked. Yeah. I was like, ugh. But so in Canada, so pretty much what I have are a bunch of lores, oral traditions. In 1907, the Nunavut encounter, the laughing ones in the wind. In the winter of 1907, a group of Inuit hunters from a small coastal camp in what is now Nunavut, Northwest Territories, set off on a multi-day journey inland to track caribou. The weather was brutal, the kind of cold that could kill a man's breath mid-sentence. There were 5 men in the hunting party. On the third night, they camped beside a rocky outcrop where strange claw-like grooves marked the snow. They assumed it was a bear, though no bear tracks followed, just dragging footprints as if someone barefoot had walked the land in circles, weaving between the rocks. That night, they heard the laughter. Not from each other, not from any camp nearby. It was high-pitched, drawn out, and unnatural, cutting through the howling wind. One man, the youngest, wandered out to relieve himself, and when he didn't return, the others followed the trail. They found him minutes later, face up in the snow, frozen solid. His expression was horrifying, his eyes wide and his mouth stretched into a smile so big his lips had cracked. His ribs showed signs of bruising, as if he'd been tickled aggressively, maybe tortured.
Tenderizing you first before they eat you.
No. They carried his body back, but the next night it got worse. The men heard shuffling, and in the dim moonlight beyond the ice, they saw 3 shapes, tall and thin, too thin, arms long like branches. The shapes moved oddly, jerking and weaving like they were laughing at their own dance. One hunter fired his rifle, but the shapes vanished, leaving only that same sound giggling, echoing in the snow. Terrified, the group abandoned their hunt and returned to the coast. When they shared their tale, the elders nodded grimly. They spoke in low voices of the Maha, beings that laugh you to death, and warned the younger hunters never to wander alone in the winter dark.
It would do it for me.
I know. It sounds so silly because, they talk about this thing having long, gaunt fingers and claws, but they literally say that it tickles you to death. I found that interesting in a funny kind of weird way, but then they're very serious about like these things and the bodies that were allegedly found being frozen, no signs of like any damage done besides the bruising of the ribs or the chest area, and then the creepy smile.
Mo.
I am going. You're in trouble. You're in trouble.
I have found another one called Mussy. And Mussy is a known inhabitant, or said to be a known inhabitant, living in Muskrat Lake in Ontario. It's described as a living plesiosaur with a large body, long neck, and large flippers, which help it move through the water. In some depictions, Mussy has been made to look like a walrus or a sturgeon, and others even having 3-eyed plesiosaur look to it. The first written account of Mussy dates back to 1916, but some locals believe that Samuel B. Champlain encountered it in his travels in the 1700s. In 1990, a tourist group offered $1 million reward to anyone who could capture Mussy alive.
Huh. There's some truth to something when somebody actually offers a reward.
Puts up that kind of money, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Elmo thinks it's crazy.
Yeah, you're grounded.
Why should you do that when I take a drink?
You're grounded.
We should make a drinking game.
With creepy Elmo voice.
Every time Elmo pops off, you take a shot.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Mags, did you say you were going to be doing Bessie?
I just have that little quip on Bessie. So if you have something more, Daniel, go for it.
Yeah, I've got something from Erie Township, Ohio. What, do you know where that is?
Hold on. I feel like I know where that is, but I could be misplacing it with something else. Hold on.
Look at Ray going again.
Yeah, Ray's dropping bombs. Hey, Robin, what's going on? And this was back in May 12th, 1887.
What's it called again?
The town?
Yeah.
Erie Township, Ohio. So.
I'm going to spell it wrong.
And it's Bessie. So you guys ready?
4 hours.
I'm ready.
You ready?
Ready.
Henry tossed a stack of net to the corner and peeked again into the boat's hold. He was pleased with how the day had turned out. Just kidding. Hey, Justin Maynard, what's up, brother? At midday, he hadn't been sure they'd filled it by sunset, but they managed. He glanced at the dropping sun about 45 minutes to spare. Lornette, Henry called to his brother. We will make good time, no? The wind is perfect, his brother agreed. Henry walked to the front and allowed himself a few minutes to appreciate the brilliant red sky. The waves lapped against the side of the boat, lulling him into his daily trance. He knew that when they had reached the shore, there would still be much work to do before the day was finally finished. But this moment, coming in with a full load of flopping, dying fish, was his favorite part of the day. And today, they were even ahead of schedule. Perhaps they would be among the first to get to the fishery. A good day indeed, he mumbled to himself. Henry's eyes scanned the approaching shoreline, watching familiar landmarks grow closer. but his eyes caught something that wasn't familiar. Something large and monstrous on the beach. It also seemed to grow in the glow in the glint of the setting sun. It was thrashing about. Laurent, he pointed. Do you see that? His brother squinted into the sunset. What is it? Henry said, I have no idea. Hurry, let's go and get a closer look. Laurent laughed. It's up to the wind how fast we will go, but she seems to be mostly cooperating. Within minutes, they were much closer, close enough to see that the creature was a creature of some sorts. It was wiggling and squirming like a beached whale. Have you seen anything like that before? He asked. They were almost to the dock. Henry replied, It's like a sturgeon, but no, it's much bigger. Does it have arms? Asked Laurent. It does, Henry answered. In all of my years on the water, Henry said. Laurent pulled the boat into the dock. Henry scrambled to secure the ropes, and Laurent hurried to help. What do we do about it? Laurent asked. It's not got long to live. Death will come soon, he said. They stared, unable to take their eyes off of the creature. Suddenly, the creature stopped moving, exhaled one big breath, and laid still. We need to help, Henry said. It's dying. Quick, if it hasn't already, let's find others. And rope, he said. We'll need lots of rope. Together they ran for help, but when they returned, there was only tracks on the beach where it had slid its great mass back into the water. They also found several large fish-type scales. Those they pocketed as proof. That was pretty uneventful.
Well, no. Something that large in the water would still freak me out.
Elmo didn't like that one.
Elmo did not like that one.
No.
Shame.
Darn it.
All right. Who else has something?
Oh, man. I don't have another one, but I was going to ask, because we were on the subject of like water cryptids and things like that. If you guys or anybody in the chat, it was like a couple years ago, and there was this guy on TikTok, and he worked on a deep sea boat, and he was recording all these crazy videos. And if anybody knows his name, I can't remember because he's not on there anymore, but he was having activity on the side of this large cargo boat, and he was having like siren songs singing, and he was recording them.
I heard that.
Yeah, and he had the one video, I found it earlier, but it's somebody else talking over it, but you could see like two really fast water tides like flanking the boat while he was on top. And I was like, man. And then he got fired, and they had like some guy in a suit come on his boat, and they tried to say it was for some other reason that he got fired. But I think it's because he actually recorded some crazy something out there, whether it be a merman or a siren or just some kind of, I don't know.
Greasebag came up because North Carolina, Cape Fear, North Carolina has a large snake-like monster called Willie. I wonder if Willie's in my book. Let me find out here.
Well, you're looking, Daniel. I found one here from Hawaii regarding a mermaid and a sighting from a charter captain.
See, that's what I like about Hawaii, is because you're probably going to get a lot more water cryptids versus the continental United States. And you're also, from what I understand, huge stories of little people. So
this is called, apparently this gentleman, dive master Jeff Leckler, 43 years old, photographed the creature known as the Kauai Point mermaid on April 12 of 1998. He and 6 other divers were exploring the ocean bottom about 20 minutes off Hawaii's sunny Kona coast. I'd heard about her before, Leckler states, who operates Jack's Diving Locker. Most of us who are out in these waters regularly have heard stories, but we've never seen anything until that morning. We were on our way out to the point when a school of dolphins started following the boat, playing in our wake. Suddenly, one of the men on the port side side of the boat started yelling and pointing. And I could not believe what I saw. There, not 10 feet from the bow of the boat, was what looked like a nude woman keeping up in the wake with the dolphins. Long flowing hair and one of the most beautiful faces I can say I have ever seen.
Interesting.
See,
that's always fascinating to me because, we grew up on Disney's Little Mermaid, and she's so pretty, and you have the back and forth controversy of whether mermaids would actually look as pretty as her, or are they scaly and creepy, and or they
gross and smell like
have sharp shark teeth. And
here we go. I found it. I'll read about it. And I wanted to say hello to a couple people that popped in while I was reading. Let's see, where are they at? Come on now. I just saw them.
How we feel about the megalodon stories. That's an excellent.
I'm gonna tell you right now, megalodon's real.
Oh,
love absolutely.
The megalodon.
Gwen, hello. Welcome to the chat. Everybody, there's my boy Justin. I haven't talked to him in a while. Hope he's doing. Justin, you doing okay? Let's see who else. Okay, so here we go. It's not that long here. Okay, so in the legend of Cape Fear, North Carolina, Willie is the name given to a supposed sea serpent or large snake that has been reportedly sighted in the Cape Fear River for centuries. Sightings date back to the 1700s, with the creature often described as long, thick, dark-colored serpent, sometimes estimated to be over 40 feet long. Locals have even given a nickname, Willie, and some historians have documented its presence, including an exhibit at the Wilmington Historical Museum. So early sightings, again, date back to 1700s with the Earl of Wilmington and others report a large snake-like creature in the Cape Fear River. In 1865, a Union soldier and naturalist documented a 40-foot-long gray-scaled snake in the area, further fueling the legend. Sightings continued into the 20th and 21st century, with locals reporting encounters with a large serpent near the USS North Carolina battleship and along the coastline. Some people have suggested the sightings may be of a Basiosaurus, an ancient whale, or even a large snake or fish, with others believe it as a cryptid. So that's pretty awesome. I'm going to have to look into some more stuff like that. That's pretty cool.
That reminds me of the really big snakes, which they aren't cryptid, but the really big snakes they say exist in like the Amazon that are like,
yep.
I don't want to. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've seen lots of like video of these massive anacondas. Like they're just huge. Hey, what's up there? 73. Hey, so okay, you guys, I'm gonna go ahead and announce this real quick. Again, thanks so much for joining our chat. We appreciate it. Guys, jump in with any questions you may have. Put them in all caps, and then that way we'll be able to go back real quick and find those. Just so you guys know that the winner of last month's giveaway did not claim the prize. So I'm running the same giveaway, but it's going to be a hat, and it's going to be one or two other things that I'm waiting for them to come in the mail. If you want to have your name entered into that drawing, that giveaway, all you have to do is become a member. The membership is $2.99. With that membership, you automatically get an early access to a Saturday release, which I do once a month. And you get your name into that drawing. Now, anybody who's already a member, your name will be in that drawing as well. So what I've done is I have taken all of my current members and put them on a spreadsheet. I'll check again after tonight, because Racings dropped 20 gifted subs to people, or 20 gifted memberships to people. So that's good for 30 days. So that falls within the time frame of you guys getting in on that drawing. And yeah, so we'll go ahead and again, that is going to be running from June 25th to July 25th, and then I'll do another live show showing me doing the will and what it is. Everybody's name is associated with a number, so you'll be issued a number, and it's just down the spreadsheet, and I put those numbers in, and we spin. This time I'm going to spin the wheel 5 times. On the 5th time, that would be the winner. What do we have here? Do you know anything about the kappa for Japan? I think that is actually in here. And if it's not, I've heard about it and I need to find more on it. And it's not on here. Sorry. These are all, and yeah, they're all from the Midwest. I guess I should read the book that I'm reading from, shouldn't I? Joyce, welcome to the chat. All right, you guys ready to hear another story?
Yeah.
Okay, this is from Madison, Wisconsin, spring of 1917. You guys, this is okay. Bozho, Bozho, or Bozho. I don't know, however you want to say it. So Peter walked along Lake Mendota, along the Lake Mendota Beach near Picnic Point. He liked how the land jutted out into the water and how at the very end it made him feel like he was in the middle of the lake. It was where he came to clear his head after a tough day of classes. It was almost time for final exams. He could get through a few more weeks. He kicked his feet in the rocks on the beach, satisfied by the scuffling sound of the pebbles scattered every which way. He picked up bigger rocks and threw it into the lake. Kerplunk. He reached for another and then another. He was about to grab his 4th when his eyes caught something unusual on the ground. He picked it up and held it against the fading sunset and studied it. It looked as if to be a fish scale. Round and tough, but it was much too large. So he put it in his pocket to show his professor. "What is it?" Peter asked. Ah, yes, his professor adjusted his eyeglasses as he studied the thing Peter had found. "I know this. I came here from New England, you know." "Yes, sir, I do know." His professor liked to talk about his upbringing and education on the East Coast. "Because of that, I am acquainted with such species." "What species is it?" Peter asked. He handed the scale back to Peter. "It's from a sea serpent." Fall of 1917. The fisherman checked his basket, but just needed to find a few more perch, and he'd have enough for a good day, a good fish fry for the evening. This is his favorite spot. He'd surely get enough here. He set his basket down on the beach and rolled up his pants, thankful for the early autumn water was still just warm enough. He moved slowly, taking care not to step on any rocks, and wade out to where the sand dropped off. He cast his line out into the water. He made a few more casts, but each time it came back with nothing. "Where are all the fish today? This is usually my lucky spot," he mumbled to himself. About 100 feet away, a head emerged from the water. It looked like a snake with a large mouth and eyes. No, I'm sorry, you guys. I would, yeah,
Die.
I would levitate back to my vehicle or my bike or whatever I was riding. The fisherman stared, frozen with fear. When he came to his senses, he scrambled up the beach. In his haste, he dropped his pole and left it with his basket. Or he left it with his basket. When he tried to tell himself what had happened, I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to speed read. When he tried to tell his friends what had happened, they all laughed. No one believed his story about the monster in the lake. Lorraine shifted her hands underneath her chin, taking care not to get a splinter. The autumn sun felt warm on her back. "I can't believe it's this warm." "Warm enough to sunbathe," she said happily as she relaxed on the dock. There was no answer. Lorraine Lorraine stole a sideways glance at her new boyfriend, the sight of his back rising up and down, and even repetitions told him that he had dozed off. She smiled and closed her eyes. Lorraine couldn't believe she was so lucky to have hooked such a good guy so early in the school year. She felt a tickle on the bottom of her foot. She looked again at her boyfriend. He was still asleep. So she closed her eyes. She felt it again. Turning quickly, she saw the head of a creature breaking the surface of the water. It looked like a giant snake, or maybe even the head and neck of a dragon. But its big eyes were friendly, almost laughing. The monster stuck out its long tongue, and again it caressed and licked the sole of her foot. Lorraine screamed and yanked her feet away, shaking her boyfriend. She woke him up. "What is that?" he asked, jumping up. "What happened?" "There's something there. It's in the water." They grabbed their towels and together ran up the dock and all the way to the fraternity house. Okay, you got a water cryptid with a foot fetish. No, thank you.
So say the very expressive "happy to see you" eyes. Happy to see me or happy to see my feet?
Yeah, no kidding.
Right?
I'm gonna bite you.
Creepy.
Mm-mm.
So I found another one here that is another water cryptid from Lake Superior that they describe as Pressy.
Okay.
They say 5 Great Lakes surround Michigan and the waters run deep, especially in Lake Superior. The water runs so deep, in fact, that entire ships have been lost to it over the years. The Edmund Fitzgerald, for instance, famous song by Gordon Lightfoot, if you guys aren't familiar. Allegedly, there is also a serpentine cryptid in the depths of Lake Superior that goes by the name of Pressy. Pressy is described as a whale-tailed, horse-headed Lake Superior creature known for its sightings around the Presque Isle River. Similarly, Pressy is known for its dark in color, skin, and whiskers, and ranges over 100 foot and lies coiled at the bottom of the lake and until it is disturbed. Even so, some may wonder if it's a creature from long ago or, in fact, a true cryptid who is now roaming the earth. Prehistoric or not, matters little, as the stories about Pressy ostensibly share similar qualities with those stories about Loch Ness.
Constantine says, out of all the cryptids we know and talk about and how frightening they are, there's one more terrifying than them all, and we never talk about.
Yeah, we don't say it.
What? Skinwalker.
Ah!
Daniel, gotta say it like almost it goes after that little
Skinwalkers, I like them.
I don't know if that's worse. If that's better or worse.
Skinwalkers, come out to play. Constantine, man.
You're gonna be on the news tomorrow.
Yeah, you also have I believe it's the Navajo lore of the Deer Lady as well.
Ooh.
She comes and she punishes men who have not been very nice or faithful,
Oh.
Well, I'm nice and I'm very faithful. I'm faithful to a fault.
Take notes. Take notes.
Good
of
men,
the deer.
pay attention. Otherwise, you'll get your toes licked by something else.
Get your toes licked by something in the lake.
Hey, racing. Yep. Starting. So if anybody in the chat has had an encounter and you'd like to come on the show, please email me at thecryptopodcast72@gmail.com. You guys, I'm not doing any interviews this coming up week. The week of the 4th of July. I'm not starting the 7th, though. I will be scheduling interviews. So if you guys would like to get into the schedule, let me know. I have shows that will be dropping every Wednesday and Friday up into, I want to say when 18th, like the week of the 20th. So I got plenty still in the can, but again, I'm running short. I need interviews. So if you or anybody knows that may have had an encounter, please shoot me an email at thecryptopodcast72@gmail.com.
Nanny just said, I know someone who has seen a bipedal alligator creature. That's a no for me.
What? Hold on. Who said that?
That's AI Nanny Pam.
Okay, Nanny Pam. A bipedal alligator creature?
I'm done.
There's my email address.
Yeah.
Scrolling across the bottom, email me.
Folks.
That's awesome. And then let's see here. Oh, by the way, AI. Hello, how are you? AI Panama, isn't that the reptilians? I would love to hear anything about reptilians.
Yeah.
Y'all ever heard of the Dobhar?
Dobhar Chew?
It's in Ireland. I have not, Patrick. I'll have to look into that. I'm gonna write that down. DOH or DOBHERCHU in Ireland. All right, I'll have to look that up.
Can you just imagine you're at a swamp in Florida and you're like, oh, what a cute gator, and then it stands up on two legs.
Speaks like Elmo and
thanks.
No.
Like who's a good gator? He stands up, he's like, me.
Oh, it's a huge otter creature.
Ooh.
So are we talking about like the Irish version of the Chupacabra, which is in Alaska?
Alaska.
And it's the Otterman. Now let me ask you, is it a huge otter creature like river otters, or is it like the sea otters, like the little cute fluffy ones that float around on their back? Yeah. Because those, I've seen some of the renditions that people.
I'm gonna look it up, Patrick.
Yeah.
Ashes. Gators are cute. We love
Ashes.
Gators.
You would think so.
He said gators ain't cute.
Yes, it was on the BOTG, which I don't know what BOTG is. They were filming also. It was in Oklahoma. It was Oklahoma. Really? Okay. Oh, lake otters. Okay. So yeah, you're looking more like river lake otters. I think they're the same thing.
Bigfoot size? What the hell?
Yeah.
I don't know whether I'd want to pet it or run away. I don't.
No. Do you still have the reptilian shape shifters from episode 11? What do you mean? The Chupacabra is big. No, Chupacabra is not a Bigfoot. It is not Bigfoot in Alaska. It is not. My dad was raised in Alaska. It is not Bigfoot. They're shapeshifters and they're tricksters. They're not Bigfoot. So.
Oh, that's sad.
Oh, Bigfoot size. From what I've understand, they can get to like 6.5, 7 feet tall. But you're looking at a 2.5 to 3 foot long sea otter transforming into a man, like a man looking thing. It's crazy. Have you ever heard of like the trucker lure of the black dog? I have not.
Tell us about it, Ray.
Yeah, what was it? Is it Fiji? Figgie? Am I saying it? Figueroa?
Figgy
Figueroa. Okay, so there's a story that Fred Roll from Alaska, he has his own. It's like subarctic Alaskan Sasquatch. I think that's the name of his channel. He is a phenomenal person. And so he told me a story of the Chupacabra. And so what happened was this guy had his cabin like kind of up on like just off of the shore of like this inlet, right? And he had crab pots out in the water. And so he's out one day like on the deck of his little cabin, and his cabin was up on stilts, and he's looking out into the water, and what does he see? He sees like this big sea otter. This big sea otter. And he thinks to himself, hey, that's a pretty big otter. I wonder if he's out there messing with my crab pots. And thinking that's what he probably was doing, he decided to go down towards the beach and pick up some rocks, and he started chucking rocks out at this sea otter. Well, it went down underneath the water, and he thought he got rid of it, so he went back up to his cabin. Like the next day, he goes out on the deck again, and he looks out, and here he sees this thing again. So again, he goes down and he starts chucking rocks at it, and got pretty close to hitting it and made it go underwater. So he thinks again that was the end. So he goes back up to his cabin. He looks out the window and he sees something. So he goes out on the deck and he sees this giant sea otter again. But this sea otter is now getting closer and closer to the shore. And as it starts getting closer and closer to the shore, it starts rising up and starts standing up, and it transforms into like the Otterman. And it came up on the beach and rushed at his cabin. He went inside his cabin, locked the door and everything. This thing attacked his cabin and pushed it off of its stilts. And it hit his cabin so hard that the wood stove that was inside his cabin fell and almost rolled over onto this guy. And when he was able to get his wits about him and, kind of figure out what's going on, he saw the thing going back into the water and disappearing. So
terrifying.
Yeah.
I would love to see that.
Well, my dad today, he said he saw, I guess you could maybe consider the Kushtaka a water cryptid.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you believe cryptids live here in Lacey, Washington? Okay, I'm going to tell you right now, you guys, I've never told this story to anybody. And this took place in Lacey, Washington. So,
not even us?
No, I haven't told you guys this.
Oh, okay.
I've never told anybody this story because it's so weird. I don't know what to do with it.
Please, let's hear it. Lay it out.
So, you guys, this is not water cryptid related. So, and it's funny because Jason lives in Lacey, Washington. Jason, I went to Timberline High School. There's a mall in Lacey, and I can't remember the name. I can't remember the name of the mall, but I used to work at that mall. And then past that mall, like going towards Olympia, there's a cemetery, and I can't remember the name of the main road. But if you're driving down the main road, this big, and it's a huge cemetery. This cemetery is on the left-hand side. So I was driving, and it was like late at night, probably between 11 and 1 a.m. I was driving my girlfriend home from my house. And so I'm driving. No, correction. I picked her up and I was driving her back to my house because she was going to stay over at my house because me, my dad, our roommate, my roommate's girlfriend, my dad's girlfriend, we were all going to go up to, go down to Mount St. Helens and walk around Mount St. Helens. So as we're driving, she's in the passenger seat, of course, or close to she's closer to the middle, and I'm driving this little pickup truck. As I'm driving, I see what I thought was a drunk guy, like fall over the fence of the cemetery, and then fell down like this, maybe 4-foot, like concrete wall to the sidewalk, and the guy slowly got up. And all of a sudden, he starts like staggering out into the street. And it looks like a drunk guy. And all of a sudden, my girlfriend because I slowed down because I didn't want him to like fall in front of me and me accidentally hit him. So as I'm slowing down, my girlfriend pushed my knee down on the gas and started screaming and freaking out. And I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? I'm trying to shift the gears and stuff like that. She's flipping out. And I'm like, what are you doing? And she's like, it had no eyes.
Oh.
She didn't say he had no eyes. She said it had no eyes. I didn't see it up that close. Okay. So I don't know what it was. But yeah. She almost blew my engine in my truck.
I hate
it had no eyes. She was terrified.
Oh.
Yeah, that was crazy. So, What did everybody saying? Wow, that was scary. Okay, Ashes, what was scary? What did I miss, man? Promise I seen Jeepers Creepers.
Oh.
Okay, Ashes, man, come on, bro. I've been on your show. You got to come on my show. So we're going to schedule you the week of the 7th. It's going to happen, partner. Oh, by the way, I'm going to give you some props, bro, or some free advertisement. If you guys want to see a good channel on Facebook, on YouTube, if you're a gamer, if you just want to just random stuff, Ashes has a YouTube channel called the Boom Boom Room, and it's a pretty cool podcast or channel, whatever he wants to call it. He puts stuff for like games that he plays on there, which I would never play those games because they scare the crap out of me, especially at dark. Because he plays like scary zombie kind of games and stuff like that, and I'm a big wuss. And yeah, so it's go check it out. The Boom Boom Room. Daniel, your guys look like a game cam with a guy. Okay, hold on. Daniel, your guy looks like a game cam with a guy just like you described. Okay, help me understand what you're trying to convey. I can drop my links. I have 2 channels. Oh, go ahead, drop your links. I think I have that all set up like you can. So, a picture. The Boom Boom Room. I'm gonna check it out. You guys check it out for real. The Boom Boom Room. It's awesome. And yeah, Ash, I want to hear about your Jeepers Creepers because that scares the crap out of me as well.
It scares me. No thanks.
So, Sabrina, you got any more stories? Josh, my boy.
It's not water related, but your story kind of reminded me of a story that I heard like forever ago. If you want to hear it.
Yeah, hold on a second. A picture of the guy without eyes.
Ugh. Oh.
Yeah, it was scary. I mean, she was terrified. Honest to God, she was absolutely petrified.
So did she see something completely different than what you were seeing?
No, because when I was driving, like I said, I slowed down. Mm-hmm. I was in 5th gear. I was probably going 60 miles an hour down this road, and honestly, it's probably only 45 through there. And I was going like 60 miles an hour through there, and I was in 5th gear. Well, I slowed all the way down to like 2nd gear, and I was going like 15 miles an hour, just trying to
not hit him.
Tried not to hit him, and she said he lunged for, like lunged at the window. And she said she looked at it right in the eyes, and it had no eyes. Looked right in his face, it had no eyes. So I don't know what that was. So no, thank you. I don't like things like that, you guys, for real.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna tell you right now, for every 5 cryptid emails I get, at least 2 also have paranormal stuff attached to it. And some of them are amazing. I mean, what are your guys' thoughts on one of the guests that I'm going to hopefully get on probably on the week of the 7th? What would you guys say if I covered his Bloody Mary story?
That's on you.
Oh, we lost Mags.
Oh, I was like, wait, why'd the screen change?
We lost Mags. She'll be back. Oh, that would be fine. Okay, Nicole, you say that would be fine. Okay, everybody in the chat. What is your opinion on me? Because he's had a cryptid. He's had a cryptid encounter, but he's also has a pretty scary encounter with. Okay, here's the thing. I don't know if I believe Bloody Mary. All growing up, we've all heard the whole Bloody Mary, folklore. So it's one of the stories that he goes, if you're interested. I said, yeah, I'd definitely like to maybe hear about it off camera, but I don't know. I mean, that's not really paranormal, is it? I really don't know.
I think it's more of a
folklore.
Like a folklore, like a myth.
Yeah. Yeah. Francis, what's up? Nicole, what's up? Yes, I can do both. And Figueroa said it would be cool. Patrick asked, do you believe in hellhounds?
Yes.
When I had my old podcast, The Paranormal Narrative, I had a guest on that saw a hellhound standing in her backyard looking up at her house. And
well, that's what the thing that I saw. I was talking to somebody, and he's another medium, and he was like, honestly, Sabrina, he was like, you could have seen one of those. Like, didn't even think about it.
Mr. Bo Ballard says, I have no idea what you're talking about. Okay, so I guess the thing with Bloody Mary is if you go into a bathroom and you turn the lights off and you say her name, you say Bloody Mary 3 times in the mirror, she'll appear in the mirror and like look at you. But again, here's the thing. I've been to parties, sleepovers,
the old,
like sleepovers, and you had, like probably 5 or 6 people, maybe 10 people, and you'd play spin the bottle, and then you'd have, you'd have people daring people, hey, go in there and say Bloody Mary 3 times, and whatever. I've been to a dozen or so parties, and I've never seen it work either. But again, I'm not saying that it doesn't work. But I tried, it didn't work. It didn't work. Bloody Mary thing. Okay. Hey, I'd be down to hear it. I don't believe in personally because we did it and nothing happened. See, I agree. Same thing. It never happened to me. I'm not saying it didn't happen. If any teens or kids watching this, don't try it at home. Yeah, you guys listen. A lot of things we talk about on here are not meant for kids. Now, again, I'm not saying that kids can't. Hey, what's up, Lisa? I'm not saying that kids have never experienced things like cryptids and stuff like that, because you guys, she was on her live last time, Neoma.
Mm-hmm.
Neoma was out doing some night fishing, and she had her kids with her, and something happened. So I'm not going to let it out because her episode is dropping on the... Ooh, I have it marked for the 18th, but it's actually going to be sooner than that. It's going to be on the 16th because that's going to be a Wednesday show. So, Kids' Tales, Bloody Mary Tales are to introduce us to the hidden side of reality. It's to desensitize us to all of it. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Lisa, Neoma is amazing. I love her. I'm definitely going to have her on for like another... I see Bo. I think I'll leave that alone if I say Bloody Mary. Yeah, it's because I'm going to the beach.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm gonna have Neoma on another episode and it's gonna be just her telling stories, which is gonna be fantastic because honestly, I love listening and seeing how she tells stories. And then I'm definitely gonna have her on again. As a co-host, 1 or 2, a couple more times as well, because she's just a vessel of knowledge, and it'd be ashamed, and if I didn't bring her back on.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Any other questions you guys want? I mean, I got a few more water cryptid stories in here. I can read them, and then we can talk about anything after that. Do you want me to continue on with the water cryptids? Or do you want me to we just go off the rails and just talk about whatever? Josh and I, we had a live a couple weeks ago, and he had this whole outline on from this time to this time we're going to talk about this, and we're going to talk about this for that time or whatnot. And we just talked like 2 hours for whatever, like for real. Go off the rails, dude. So let me go ahead and do a couple of more water cryptids. We're still waiting for Maggie to come back on. And then we'll see if she has anything else. And then we can just go on and talk about whatever. Because honestly, you guys, I love doing these lives. And you know what I'm thinking about doing? Let me ask you guys' opinion before I get into the clawed green beast from Evansville, Indiana. I'm going to talk about that next. But let me ask you guys' opinion on this, okay? So I've been kind of looking at certain analytics and things. And, you guys, I'm trying to really hit the algorithm with YouTube. And I'm trying to do a lot of tweaking and things like that. That's one of my favorite Rod Stewart songs, by the way. What would you think that instead of me doing 2 pre-recorded episodes a week and dropping it down to 1 pre-recorded episode a week, but 1 live episode? What are your thoughts on that? So I'd still do my Saturday night live streams. I'd still do those, but I'm talking having a guest on and having a live episode with that guest. What do you think?
I think that'd be really cool. You should do it.
Oh, who said that?
Almost terrified friend.
Yeah, Mags is. We're trying to get her in here, so I get a yes. There's a Bigfoot museum in Lacey, Washington, and they have actual Bigfoot castings. Okay, I'm gonna tell you right now, there was not a Bigfoot. There was not a Bigfoot museum in Lacey when I was there. So, see here. Do you ever put any thoughts into the catalyst that started these encounters, and why do people have them? I personally have thought about that a lot. What is it that draws people, draws these cryptids into people's lives? Like, what is it? So it's not necessarily a Bigfoot. Now, here's my thing. If someone is having some really negative issues, like a lot of negative things going on in their lives, like a lot of bad luck or whatever, and a Dogman appears, I think they feed on that negativity and that fear. That's just my opinion. Now, I'm not saying that's not it.
Absolutely.
But I think Bigfoot, Sasquatch, whatever you want to call him or her, I think it's different. I think it's if you see one, just a happenstance visual, it's not like, oh my gosh, it's a surprise. I surprised it. No, you didn't. You are seeing one that I call them the point man. They're out there to be seen.
Yep.
That they're out there to be seen because they're drawing your attention away from something else.
Yep.
Whether it be a female, a young one, a juvenile, something like that. Now, if you see a younger one, that's because he's pushing his luck with his parents. If you're all by yourself and you see one, then what you're doing is they are allowing you to see them because they can read your body language. They can pick up your energy. And it looks like Mag is still having a rough time. So, yeah, she's still kind of locked up. But, Constantine, completely agree that they do. I believe Dogmen feed on fear. I don't think Sasquatch do. Now, if you are out and about in certain parts of the area, but it's also, I'm about to say this, is if you're in different parts of the United States, okay, different, what would you say? Not races, but different types of Sasquatch tend to have different attitudes towards human beings. Like if you look up in the Pacific Northwest, so like from probably northern San Francisco all the way up to Vancouver, BC, and parts of of that area, they tend to be a little more laid back, more, I call them hippie Bigfoot or hippie Squatch, because they just don't want to be messed with. They don't want anybody to mess with them. They just want to do what they want to do. They want to stay out of people's different mannerisms.
Sorry, guys, I had to do a little finagling.
Oh,
you're good.
You and your
Welcome
finagling.
back.
Does it? See, there he goes. She
This is not so hot.
She finagled the wrong way.
You finagled the wrong way. You zigged instead of zagging. But when you think about it, why do they always walk in front of vehicles? Thoughts, everyone. That is a really good question. For the life of me, I can't answer that. I really don't.
I think it's bad timing for me. Bad
Yeah.
timing. Or good timing, depending on who you ask.
Right.
I don't know. I agree with what you said, though. For at least Bigfoot, that is, if you have the, if it depends on who you talk to, it'll either be a blessing or it'll be a curse. I think if you have the opportunity or the moment you've seen one, it's because they've let you. They are 2 steps ahead every single time. And if you see one, that is because they are allowing you to. Whether it's your special moment or a fluke or whatever it might be, they are allowing you to. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They know you're there before you even know they're there. You walk in a trail when you're going hiking, anywhere you're going hunting, they already know you're there. They already know.
Here's the perfect thing. Somebody that was in the chat, I don't know if he's still here, but Josh had an encounter a few years ago in Arkansas, him and his wife, and it was at nighttime. They were driving down this road, and it was like 5 miles away from where he grew up. But something very large, literally, I say Dukes of Hazzard, across the hood of his car while he was driving. And it was white, and it was shaggy. And his wife, she's like, no, that's not what it was. But Josh, being who he is, he was a cop for 16 years. He went after it in his car. He saw where it went. He drove forward, took this little exit down into like a church parking lot, and got out of his car. And no, I thought Goatman when he first told me, but he believes that it was a Sasquatch from Arkansas, and this is Bigfoot territory. Ozark Mountains is there. Absolutely. There's a lot of people that comes on this show, and a lot of people that I talk to. So, Figgy, you're from Arkansas. Bo Ballard's from Arkansas. When Wyatt jumps in here, he's from Arkansas. Who else in here is from Arkansas? Blue Cruz tuned in. Hello, all. Hey, what's up? Thank you so much for popping in, and welcome to the show. Welcome to the chat. Right now, we're just kind of shooting the shiz with everybody. I'm going to read one more water cryptid, and then I've got a bunch of books that has different types of cryptids in it. We'll do Bigfoot. We'll do Dogman. I think Bo Ballard asked for Dogman. A couple other people did too. But before we start that, guys, thank you so much for jumping in. So far, we've hit 49 for our top viewers right now. So if you guys are able to share this, get some more people here, that'd be fantastic. If not, hey, just enjoy the talk, enjoy the conversation, enjoy the interaction with not only us, but with you and the rest of your people in. Hey, what's up there? Carson, nice to see you. So again, I own a book about Arkansas. Okay, does that also list a lot of does that also involve cryptids from Arkansas? Because you guys, I'm down for as many different cryptids as I can possibly find. I scour the internet, and some of the stuff I'm like, when they list a cryptid, they're listing an animal that was previously discovered or previously wasn't discovered, and now it's discovered. It's an average thing. And one thing that I also don't really, they call them cryptids because they're elusive, and it's a history of Bigfoot. Oh, please email me. You have before. Email me the name of that book so I can look it up, and then I might try to see if I can buy it somewhere. But what was I talking about? I don't remember what I was talking about.
Different.
Wow.
Look at Ray just dropping bombs again, you guys. There's 20 more gifted subs. And that just makes me go ahead and remember what I wanted to announce as well. You guys, we are doing another giveaway. Now, unfortunately, you got off Amazon. Okay, yes, let me know. Unfortunately, the winner of last month's drawing did not claim the prize. So again, the hat that I'm going to be giving away, and I am getting some stuff in the mail soon, I hope, and I will be adding that as well. So in order to get in on that drawing, on that giveaway, all you have to do is become a member of the Cryptid podcast. You'll be joining the Cryptid crew. It's $2.99 a month. And what you guys will get is exclusive early access to a Saturday episode that drops once a month. So if I drop it on Saturday, I believe everybody who is a member gets early access on a Thursday. Yeah. And then you guys, again, I don't have a ton of merch. I'm working on it. I know you've heard me say it in the past, but I'm getting closer and closer. I'm going to be doing t-shirts. I'm going to be doing t-shirts, hoodies, other hats. I'm trying to do magnets, stickers. I'm thinking about coffee mugs and travel mugs. And I'm thinking about patches. Like you put on a bag or hang on, sew onto a jacket or something like that. So that's what I'm thinking about doing. Maybe even beanies. Yes. So I got some.
I'd like a beanie, yeah.
Okay, cool. Mags her camera's froze, but I don't know if she's typing.
I was, yes, but on a different one.
Oh, but you're frozen all up again.
I know the internet here.
Awesome. Don't worry about it. You're good to go. And also, just to let you guys know that sometime in July, me, my daughter Bailey, Maggie, her husband, and I think there's another person that was in Josh's and my live last week or the week before last that is from Elkhorn, Wisconsin. That's what we're doing. We're going to go to Elkhorn, Wisconsin. It might be like a Friday, Saturday trip. And I hopefully will get to meet up with Lee, tour his farm, maybe have him give us some rides through through his field, through his things like that. And then what I would like to do is I would love to walk up and down Bray Road just to see what we can hear, what we can see. And I'm telling you right now, I will be prepared. So
in the neighboring town near Elkhorn is Walworth, and there's another small town next to that is actually called Bigfoot, Wisconsin, and they have the Bigfoot Inn Bar and Grill. We should go have a drink.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I am in the middle of booking a camping trip to 2 Arkansas state parks, Crater of Diamonds and Crowley's Ridge or Village Creek State Park. Man, listen to you guys are too
Sienna,
nice.
thank you.
Sienna, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. All right, guys, let's get to this cryptid, this water cryptid. And Ray, thanks again, man, for you dropping bombs. Anybody coming in? I wish I had a sound effect to play every time somebody dropped some memberships or
Hamilton says thank you.
They did have a question with that. I would love to hear what you all think of what happened with
Roanoke.
Roanoke,
Virginia.
Roanoke.
I would love to hear what y'all think of what happened with Roanoke. What do you mean? What happened with Roanoke?
The missing people of Roanoke.
Oh,
is that what you're referring to?
I think I've heard. Let me look into that.
Mm-hmm.
The Lost Colony. Yeah. It's like
I've never.
No, it's like they were there and then
they weren't.
They're gone.
What?
Like for real, like an entire village gone.
Was it 70 some people or something like that?
Yeah, I think like that. The whole colony went missing. Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Crazy. They found the bones.
Yeah.
But what happened to them?
There's Dogman-y rumored stuff to go with that. Lots of sightings in that area also. Some say curses.
Yeah.
Well, how long ago was this?
The settling of the colonies, Roanoke.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty cool. They left with the natives. My son saw a Dogman down the haulers. Really? Okay, Crystal. So here's the thing.
We need to talk to your son.
Absolutely. Your son, if your son is under the age of 18, then you are more than welcome to sit in while I do the interview. I do not do solo interviews with anybody under the age of 18. A parent or a guardian always has to be present. So if you would like for him to share his story, my email address is thecryptidpodcast72@gmail.com. It was one of the first colonies to actually settle in the United States. Took him 2 years to get back from England. Yeah, exactly. So you guys, here we go. Ready? Let's do this. This is called The Clawed Green Beast, Evansville, Indiana, August 21st, 1955. Hello, Lois. Naomi gripped the phone in one hand and with the back of the other dabbed the sweat dripping from her forehead. The kids are desperate to get out of this hot house. Care to join us for a swim? She glanced at her oldest son. He stood still in the doorframe, waiting for the verdict. Okay, that's fine. Yes, good. She kept her words intentionally neutral. She settled the receiver back on the phone, hanging up from the wall, and then turned to her son, careful not to reveal the answer in her expression. Well, said Daryl, unable to stand suspense. What'd she say? Naomi broke into a smile. We're picking her up in about 10 minutes. Get your brother and your sister. I'll pack a basket. He was already out the door to the backyard hollering for Darwin and Sandra. Within minutes, Naomi was in her suit and the cooler was packed with soda bottles, tuna fish sandwiches. It was too hot to get into the car, so the children waited next to it. After family fetched Lois, it was just a short drive to the river. Daryl leaned back against the seat and closed his eyes, letting the wind from the open windows whip in his hair every which way. Lois's inner tube was stuffed between him and the passenger seat in the front of him, and he had to keep shoving it back down. He was glad that his mom knew how to get to the good swimming spots behind the train tracks. They parked along the stretch of road where the riverbank wasn't too steep, then gathered their gear. Mom, asked Sandra on a okay, so let me do that better. Mom, asked Sandra. That's my girl voice. Let's see here. On a short hike through the brush and trees. Why do they call it the Ohio River when this side is Indiana and the other side is Kentucky? Her mother smiled. Because, dear, she answered simply. Darwin rolled his eyes. You ask that same question every time we come here. Sandra stuck out her tongue at her brother and shoved past him to get to the water first. Not having any of it, he chased her and grabbed her by the ponytail. Ow, Mom! She screamed. Naomi spread the blanket over. Naomi sighed. She spread the blanket over the shady spot on the rocky, clumpy grass and pointed. You two sit here. You have to wait until I say you can swim. Daryl snickered at his brother and sister as they sat down on the blanket. He set about searching the shore for a stick that was long enough to poke at the bottom. He liked to know what was down in the water before he started walking around in it. Darwin inched to the farthest edge of the blanket, and Sandra scooted to the opposite corner, their backs to one another. Louise stopped to put her things on the blanket. Your mother deserves better from you two, she scolded. You just remember that when she works hard for you. Yes, ma'am, Darwin mumbled, poking a small stick into the rocky sand. Sandra nodded and used the back of her hand to swipe away the tears. She was obviously didn't like to be reprimanded. Now don't you cry, Louise said. It's just so hot. Give her a minute to cool off. We'll have you in the water in no time. She stood and stepped carefully through the brush to place her tube in the weedy water. Gently, she eased her body into it and pushed back from the edge. Naomi, already up to her waist, stretched her arms above her head. This is the life, Louise. We should start our own country club right here on the riverbed. Both women laughed. And Naomi dove underwater. She took several strokes and they came up for air about 15 yards out. Laughing and treading water to stay in place against the current, she shouted to Daryl, "Quit your worrying about what's in the water and just get in." Daryl scowled at his mother, feeling embarrassed in front of Louise. "Naomi," shouted Louise, "let the other two get in. They've suffered enough in this heat." "All right," said Naomi. "Darwin and Sandra, you get in, and I don't want to hear another peep out of either one of you." "Yes, ma'am." Darwin scrambled off this corner of the blanket. "Okay, Mom," said Sandra, skipping into the water's edge. Naomi felt something brush against her leg and kicked hard against it. That was the worst part of swimming here, wondering if the river fish might venture too close to the shore. She leaned back in the water and floated on her back, giving whatever it might be wide berth to lumber on to wherever it was going. Instead, something reached up and gripped her leg. She screamed, "Ah!" and tugged hard against her the underneath. It tugged hard and yanked her underneath the water. The water swirled around her, and she fought against in a panic that comes without not being able to breathe. The claw-like grasp on her leg tightened, and she went down, closer to the bottom. With her free leg, she kicked hard at whatever it was, trying to push it away and loosen her trapped leg from its claws. Her foot slipped against the creature's slimy, scaly body. Naomi knew that she was running out of time. She needed a precious breath of air. With one final kick, she thrashed hard this time, adding a punch to the general vicinity of the creature's head, hoping it didn't have teeth. Her efforts was finally enough. Naomi's head broke to the surface, and she gasped for air. "Mom!" screamed Daryl, rushing towards the water. "No!" yelled Naomi, sputtering and trying to catch her breath. "Don't come in! There's something in here!" At the panic of her voice, Daryl froze, and his siblings scrambled back away from the edge of the water. Louise, struggling to get out of her inner tube, screamed and pointed, "Look out!" At the same moment, Naomi felt the creature again. Its claws hand grabbed at her leg, but she propelled her arms in a strong freestyle stroke and kicked her feet before it could lock its grip. She darted through the water towards the shore. Not this time, she thought. By the time Naomi got to shore, Louise had managed to get out of her floating prison and reached up to help her to safety. Naomi brushed a hand through her matted hair. The shivering rack through her body seemed somewhat ironic on a 96-degree day. She studied the scratches on her leg, 3 parallel gashes, 2 on her shin and 1 on her calf. It ran down from her knee to her ankle. Right in the middle, a palm print, bluish green in color, the size of an apple, seemed to glow in the hot sun. "What was that?" Darwin asked. "I have no idea," said Naomi, unable to keep her voice from shaking. Sandra rushed to her mother. "I thought it was going to eat you," she cried. Not long after, the children were back at school when Naomi answered a knock at the door. She peeked through the thin pink curtains. A man in a suit stood waiting. She opened the door. "Can I help you?" "Are you Miss Darwin Johnson?" asked the man. "Yes, I'm Naomi Johnson." He reached into his pocket and pulled out an ID badge. "I'm from the United States Air Force," he said. Naomi glanced at it before he tucked it back into his suit pocket, got a small notebook and pen. "Would you like to come in?" Naomi asked. "The kids will be home from school soon, and I made some lemonade." "No, but thank you, ma'am." He glanced around, as if to look to see if there was anyone who might overhear. It's my understanding that you had sought medical attention for an incident that happened while swimming on the Ohio River a few weeks ago. Well, yes, she stammered. My leg was bleeding badly. There was large scratches. My friend Louise left and called for an ambulance. I told her that was silly, but they came anyway, and they treated me there. It was nothing really. Louise, he asked, flipping through the pages of his little notebook. Would that be Miss Chris Lambell? Yes, said Naomi. And which did you and what and excuse me, and after did you speak to the newspaper about the river incident? Naomi blushed. Well, yes, the children told everyone, and my daughter Sandra had a friend whose father works at the newspaper. It was just a matter of time before he called to ask about it. He wrote down on his notepad. Is there a problem? She asked. No, ma'am, he smiled. Are you sure you don't want to come in for some lemonade? No, I think we're finished here. He flashed a smile. But from now on, I would like to highly encourage you not to say anything further about this incident. Naomi's eyes widened in surprise. Sir? It's a matter of national security, ma'am. Confidential. Please don't discuss this with anybody further. Yes, sir, she whispered. I understand. He nodded. Sorry to disturb you. Have a nice day. He tipped his hat and left. Naomi closed the door and leaned against it. She pressed her fingers against her forehead as if to massage away a headache. A shiver raced through her body as the realization of the man's words settled upon her. She looked down, and her hand reached for the mark on her leg. The bluish-green handprint from the terrible day at the river it still hadn't gone away, no matter how many times she'd scrubbed at it. Yeah, that's crazy.
And you know when government officials are involved or any kind of military that something juicy's going on that you shouldn't be knowing about.
Yeah, here's the thing, you guys. This is seriously, this is word to the wise. If you can't see the bottom, don't get in the water.
Get in the water.
Don't get in the water.
You're going to need a bigger boat.
Listen, the last time I got into any deep water, I surprised my daughter. I think she was 10 at the time. I surprised her with a trip to Disney World. And we spent like 3 days at Disney. And I'll tell you right now, Magic Kingdom is not the happiest place on earth. Magic Kingdom is the most horrible place on earth. And then we would go to different beaches. We went to Cocoa Beach, went to Daytona Beach. We did a couple more beaches. And she was all about finding shells. And I used to live in Florida. I've seen people attacked by sharks in water that was like knee deep. And I'm like, there's no way I'm going out there. Well, my kid wanted to go out there. And so, me being the dad that I am, I sucked up all my fear. And I went into water, I kid you not, that was like right below my chin. And I'm thinking the whole time, if a shark comes here, I'm an easy target. Let alone I had my kid kind of like holding onto my neck. And then I would feel a shell. So I would hold onto her foot. I would dive down, grab the shell, and then come back up. So I was still right around her and give her the shell. So, yeah. All right, you guys, that was our last of our water. I'm just kind of go back here and kind of looking. Our last of our water cryptids. See if I missed any questions. Or let's see here.
Ray is very inquisitive about the knot deer.
Yes, he is.
Oh, okay. Hold on a second. Let me see if I have it here. I think someone sent me a picture. I think I loaded it. Yeah. So someone sent me this. I think Ray. I think you sent me this. Like, I mean, that's not
deer, Ray, not a knot deer.
I mean, that's not like like the one that you would normally see, but this is like a rendition of what you might see because they said their
eyes and mask on it.
Yeah, like the eyes are like facing forward instead of on the side. So, but yeah, it's funny when you look at it. It's hilarious. Yeah, you didn't see this last week, did you? Yeah. I'm saying that's what it was.
Active, he looks special. Yeah, he sure does.
Yeah.
Looks like he's thinking, "What are you doing in my neck of the woods?"
Right?
Exactly.
Shorter than normal bus waiting for that dude.
So here, guys, I'll tell you another one of my personal encounters. Now this is one again I've maybe mentioned a couple of times because I don't think it's really anything. It could have been anything. Really,
you never know. You never know.
I want to say it was Cougar Mountain in Washington State, Cougar Mountain or Cougar Rock. I can't remember what it is, but there was an amazing stream. Okay, an amazing stream. It was knee deep at its deepest that I remember, and I used to love fly fishing. Used to tie my own flies and everything like that. And so I would always be on like the straight part of this river because it came down and then it would go around this bend and it kind of picked up a little more speed coming around this bend. And so I'd be out there fly fishing. And so this is the funny part of the story. So I'll do the earlier. So earlier in that day, I was fishing and I was close to the bend. So if I would have walked maybe about another 20 or 30 feet, I could have looked around the bend in the stream. And all of a sudden I hear this loud splash, like something had jumped into the water. Jason, man, have a good night, buddy. Thanks for joining the chat.
Good night, Jason. Thanks.
But it sounded like someone had jumped into the stream and then like sloshed over, like walked through the water. But again, I'm thinking, okay, maybe that was a rock that fell. It might have been a pretty big rock. And the sound that I'm hearing, like something walking through the water, could be like water coming around it. You know, that's what I let it to be. So, but I never went around to check that out and look. But there have been Bigfoot sightings in that area. I do know that. Now, the funny part of the story is when it started getting dusk, I'm still out there trying to catch. And literally I had no problem ever catching my limit when I was fishing in this area. And so I'm out there and I'm fly fishing and I'm casting out. Just as I cast out to do my final cast to let it rest on the water, as I'm coming out, my pole goes and it shoots straight up in the air. And I'm like, what is going on? And I look up and a freaking bat had grabbed my fly.
Oh, cool.
And this isn't one that I tied myself. I bought this fly. This is $100 fly.
Oh, no.
And that mother sucker, he trashed it. I had to pull him down and then I had to hold him with like needle nose pliers. I didn't hurt him. So I had him in my hand like this so he couldn't bite me. And then I had my needle nose pliers and he had his mouth locked. The hook wasn't in him, but he was locked in on that. He did not want to let it go. So I had to like go in there and kind of carefully pry his mouth open to get my trashed fly out. And then I let him go. I was like, you jerk. I was so mad. But yeah, so that's one of those funny. So earlier, could I have had a Bigfoot encounter? Don't know.
Never know.
I never saw anything. So same thing happened to me, to my dad, but I was a seagull. Man, I'm telling you, those seagulls, because guys, I'm from the Pacific Northwest. I grew up in Tacoma, Washington. In Washington, I lived in Graham, Washington, Lacey, Washington, Spanaway, Washington, and Tacoma. And yeah, seagulls, whenever I'm down on Ruston Way swimming, you better make sure you get your bait in the water and under the water pretty quick, or those darn fish those seagulls will come and take your bait, and then they'll swallow it, and now you've got to cut your line because now you got a seagull with your bait and hook and everything down in its gut. So, but yeah. They terrify me now. Okay. All right. So who wants to hear some stories? Let's just give me a cryptid name out there. If I have it, I'll read about it. What do you guys got? Steven Seagal. That's hilarious. When I was in Australia, I watched according to Strategic Military Plan. Oh, nice. All right. Since we're talking about seagulls, my sophomore year of high school, the rake. I don't know if I have one. I'll look. Dogman is next. So real quick, this story. When I was in 10th grade, I went to Wilson High School. It's no longer called Wilson. They renamed it when they were renaming schools and parks and things like that, getting away from racism and things like that. So it was Woodrow Wilson High School, and it was renamed to some other name. I don't remember what the name is. And so at lunch, every single lunch, I ate chili cheese nachos. That's what I had 5 days a week for lunch was chili cheese nachos. And this beautiful, beautiful spring day, I come walking out, got this nice size. Literally, the boat was like this big, like this long and like that wide. And it was just packed full of chili cheese nachos. I go walking outside, and this frickin' seagull flies over and craps right in my nachos.
Extra protein.
Like he straight poop bombed my nachos. I was so mad, and I just threw them on the ground, and all of a sudden it's like they came out of nowhere.
Oh.
Like Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds. They just came flying down, right?
They planned it.
Oh, I was so mad. So, all right. So I've got the Wendigo, the Abominable Snowman. I know I don't have anything about the Abominable Snowman. I may have. Hey, Mags, you want me to add you with that one too?
Yeah, I think this one's going to work better.
You want me to kick you out of the other one?
Yep.
There we go. All right. So let me see what I have, you guys. Okay. Dude, nachos, tacos, and burritos are like some of my favorite foods.
I do have that quick, super quick story. The one guy told me about the rake in New York for Ray.
Yeah, let's hear it.
So I am covered in tattoos, and when I was this was probably 7 years ago, I was at my shop getting work done, and this guy, we were talking about cryptid sightings and all things like that. And this is a super short story, but he was like, "Oh, have you ever heard of the rake?" And at this point, I've never heard of anything like that. And I'm like, "What the heck is that?" And he said, "Well, I've seen one," and he was telling me about it. And I was like, "Well, what did you see?" And he said he was in New York in like 2007, something like that. He said he was walking around New York. Can't tell you what part it was, but he said it was getting a little dark, dusk. And he said he walked by this alleyway and he heard this like rummaging in this trash can, like one of the big dumpsters, I guess. And he said he went and turned his head to look down the alley, and he said he literally saw a 7-foot pale, sickly looking thing with like the sunken in eyes. He said it was bald, and he said it was eating out of the dumpster. And he said once he saw it, he locked eyes with whatever this thing was, and he said it jumped on this fence and crawled like a spider monkey over this fence and ran down the other part of the alleyway, and he said it was gone.
All right, there's a rake story.
There's a rake story.
And I do not have the Abominable Snowman, but I do have a Yeti. So, and some people call the Yeti and the Abominable Snowman, it's one and the same. So hopefully that will suffice you. That was a New York homeless man. That's hilarious, Tammy. That's funny. That's funny. I've never heard of any hurting people though.
No.
Sienna, what have you not heard of hurting anybody?
The rake.
The rake.
The rake be a gibbon. Yeah, some people say it, but no, dude, what I saw was not a gibbon. It was not a gibbon. I didn't know what it was until I heard people describing what. Rakes have hunted human or have hurt human before. I mean, they've tried to. There is a channel called War Stories. It's on YouTube. I love that channel. the host is a Marine. I think he was Force Recon with the Marines. And if you guys know anything about Force Recon, they're some bad dudes. And he tells stories about things that soldiers, active duty military veterans, retired, has seen and encountered. And one of the things that he did was some army guys were out on maneuver, and one guy, they were doing like a land nav, which is land navigation, and one guy, I think he kind of got off course a little bit, and he saw what he thought was one of these guys and stood up, and he said this thing was up actually in a tree looking at him, and then it started following him, and he started running from it, and it kept chasing him. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. So if you guys get a chance to check it out, I want to say it's War Stories, and the icon or logo is kind of looks like a skull with a helmet on it. It's pretty cool. Your dad was a Marine, did 2 tours in Nam. Yeah, between my dad and my stepdad, I think they did a total of 5 tours in Vietnam. I love stories of the military as well, Lisa, and I'm always trying to find any active duty or veteran to come on my show and tell their encounters. It's hard for me to get these guys on there to talk. So, I think I've had 1 or 2. I think I've had 1 on, but that's really about it. So, as I mentioned earlier in the comments, the Solomon Islands and why the Japanese surrendered. Are you talking about? I mean, okay. Before I get into this Yeti thing, are you talking about where? These Japanese, and tell me if Constantine, if I'm wrong, let me know. So on this, I want to say it was Solomon Islands. There were some Marines on there, and they were getting ready to duke it out with the Japanese that occupied the island or the islands, and the Japanese had to go through like this marsh. Little did he know there were saltwater crocodiles or giant crocodiles. And we'll just say those crocodiles feasted for days on Japanese soldiers. Yeah. And it's crazy. Now, if I'm mistaken, I'll definitely find that story because it's pretty crazy. Sherry, hello. How are you? All right. Okay. So here we go, guys. Great show. Thanks, Sherry. Appreciate that. Yeti in the Yukon. The eyewitness, his name is Paul Sutter. This happened spring of 1980. Paul says, not a lot of people know this about me these days, but I was a gold miner. If I'd have struck it rich, that part of my life might have made more of an impact. But my career mining gold was short-lived. It lasted, let's see here. What's up there, Mr. Duffy? It lasted from the rush of 1980 until I lost interest in 84. While I didn't hit the mother lode when it came to gold, I did make a lasting discovery. I worked in the Yukon Territory. My job on the mining crew was not glamorous. I ran heavy machinery. Early in the season, I would clear the land we were going to mine, taking down the trees and the shrubs, getting the earth good and bare. It was tough work, and the days were long and cold. Some days so cold that I felt like a popsicle in the cab of the loader. I had to wear gloves all the time because if I touched anything metal, with my bare hands, my skin would freeze fast on contact. You probably don't care all too much about that job, and I don't blame you. You just want to know what I saw. 80 was my first year working in the Yukon. Prior to that, I ran heavy machinery, but down in Washington State. Excuse me, guys, sorry. So I was used to work. I like to say I could operate anything with wheels or tracks with my eyes closed, and that wasn't much of an exaggeration. I was clearing a big old patch of land. Sorry, guys. Way out in front of me. When way out in front of me, up on a little knoll, I saw a big white moving animal. It was hard to make out against the snow, but it wasn't quite the same shade of white. It was a dirtier white. I guess I'd say, well, whatever it was, it caught my attention. I stopped the work I was doing and drove the loader towards the animal. It was moving in and out of the trees, and even though my machine made one heck of a lot of noise, it paid me absolutely no attention. As I got within 50 yards of it, I realized the animal was walking on two legs, walking just like a man. I figured it must be someone in a snowsuit, but I knew it wasn't anyone on our crew, not that far from camp. I'm not a territorial type of person by nature, but we paid good money for the land lease and didn't need anyone up there wandering around causing us grief. I motored forward, picking up the pace as quick as I could. All the while, the figure kept moving in and out of the trees. Then, there, one moment, it was gone. And then it would show up again. And then it would be gone again. I started to wonder if it might be a hunter, but why all the way out here? When I got to the base of the knoll, I realized I couldn't drive up it. Not safely, anyway. I looked up to where I'd seen the figure, but it was now no longer in sight. I grabbed my radio, ready to call back to the rest of the crew to report what I had just seen, but before I could, the figure reappeared. What I'd take from this person, a hunter in a snowsuit, was not a person after all. It was an animal, standing on two legs covered in white fur. The front of its chest was stained a bright red. It looked at me for a second before I realized that the red stain was actually blood. I got tipped off by the fact that it was holding a snowshoe hair that was, or what was left of it anyway. I was damned certain I was looking at a Yeti. I know that sounds crazy, but it couldn't have been anything else. The Yeti's jaws were chomping, moving sort of side to side like a cow chewing cud. Blood from the hair had soaked into the fur around the Yeti's mouth and chin. It was one ugly sight. I fumbled with the radio, smashing the call button. It crackled, and I heard my boss's voice come across, all broken up. I was pretty far from camp, further out than I was supposed to be, further out than I should have been. I yelled into the radio that I was looking at a Yeti and to send someone here with a gun. His voice came back, but I only got every fourth or fifth word. I had no idea if he had heard me or not. The Yeti was looking straight at me now. It brought its hair up to its mouth and took another bite, then chewed and swallowed it down raw. I still sat there in the cab, hoping the cavalry would soon show up and see what I was seeing. But before that happened, the Yeti, it took another bite of the hair. Then it whipped its arm in kind of a side motion, throwing something at me. A second later, the head of the hair bounced off my windshield, left a big smear of blood behind it where it had hit. My eyes locked, focused on the head as it rolled across the hood and then fell to the ground. When I looked back up to the knoll, to where the Yeti had been standing, it was gone. I only waited a minute or so, and when it didn't reappear, I did a 180 and headed back to camp. Turns out my boss hadn't heard my frantic call, or not enough of it to make sense out of it. So I told him in person. He seemed to doubt me at first, and heck, I can't blame him. But I took him outside and showed him the blood on my windshield. It was already frozen over, and and it was dark. It was a dark red, icy stain, but it was enough to convince him that I wasn't crazy. Word got around camp real quick. One of the guys, an Indian who had grown up in the Yukon, he quit his job straight off. Didn't even wait around for his paycheck. There was a healthy amount of skepticism along with the rest of the crew, and a good bit of ribbing. I expected that. But over the next couple of years, I had two other guys tell me that they saw the same creature when they were out working. So I wasn't the only one.
Man.
That's scary.
That is the cryptid one. Or the Yeti. And someone said Dogman. Okay, let's go here. We'll do Dogman. Let's see what do we got here. Let me look at one of my other ones here.
I don't even know what I would do if a Bigfoot or a Yeti threw the corpse of whatever it was eating at me.
No.
Like, all right, you know what? I'm out.
Not at all.
Nope.
Let's see here. Okay, I don't think I read this one. Let's try this one here. Let's see. So, in the Mines Act in the Yukon, no active mine shall have any type of firearm. It doesn't. So let's see here. All right. Here's one, you guys. Someone asked for Dogman, so we're going to read a Dogman encounter here. Let's see here. Dogman of Michigan. The sighting happened in... Oh, I've already read this one. So let me read one from this book here. Let's see here. I got a big book. Let's see what we got here. By the way, the stories that I'm reading from this book, it's called I Know What I Saw by Linda Godfrey. The other books I read from are Beware of the Woods, Volume 1, Volume 2 from Tony Urban. And then also Monsters of the Midwest by Jessica Freeberg and Natalie Fowler. So I got all, I'm not going to lie, I got most of these at half price books. So
Can't beat that.
Nope. Okay. Michigan Dogman and Massacre Burial Grounds.
Oh.
What? Page 85. Let's go. Let's see what we got here. All right. All right, here we go. Eyewitnesses. It was like it rode the treetops. This report actually contains three encounters that occurred in 2016 in rural western Michigan, close to Lake Michigan's eastern shore and adjacent to what has become known as the main stomping grounds of the Michigan Dogman, the Manistee National Forest. The first of the three encounters begs as usual question I haven't previously considered. Could a dogman travel from treetop to treetop in a snowy wood? Hard as it may be to imagine any canine at home in forest canopy, it seems to the eyewitness that this may have been the case. Unusual circumstances seem to rule this set of encounters. Okay. Creature 1. As for the eyewitness, I'll refer to him by his pseudonym, Brad. Brad writes, I've seen this creature that resembles a werewolf on the family farm here in rural southwest Michigan. I'll start by explaining the property layout. The farm sits on 30 acres of woods. creek, and marshlands. All of my encounters have come this year, which is 2016, from February to about a month or so ago, meaning early June. The first came on or about the 8th of February at approximately 3:52 a.m. A heavy winter storm had hit the area with some nasty weather. I was up early to get a jump on the snow shoveling, so the driveway was accessible for the propane delivery guy later that morning. As I was about halfway down the driveway, I hear a loud splash in the creek to the south, about 25 yards away. Thinking it was a deer or two, I stopped shoveling to scan the creek and the wood line for any movements. Now, anybody in there in the chat that does not know what a creek is, it's a creek. It's a creek. As I scanned the creek, I came to the wood line and saw this pair of yellow amber eyes, 7.5 to 8 feet tall, standing right next to a huge oak tree. It took off with super bursts of speed to the west and then leapt into the air, and all I heard were the next few seconds was the treetops clanging against one another. It was like it rode the treetops. I stood there for the next few minutes, questioning my sanity. For the 6 or 7 seconds I saw this creature, it stood on two legs. It looked like a dog's hind legs. It had a big wolf-like head with the snout and ears that resembled that of a German Shepherd, and those eyes, yellowish amber eyes. Creature number 2. The second sighting came on or about March 24th at approximately 2:38 p.m. I had decided to walk up the creek and clear brush. I always carried a firearm on me for these occasions. I had gotten about 450 yards up the creek that flowed through the entire acreage of our property. It was strange to me how completely quiet, or as I say, dead, the woods were. I always jumped something up, whether it was a deer or a turkey or ducks that are always there. I didn't hear any birds, which was really strange. This spooky phenomenon of utter silence enveloping the area. Okay, these guys are using $10 words, and all I have is a $5 education. They call it the Oz factor, and is quite common in creature encounters. It was named by British author and investigator Jenny Randalls after the strange alternate kingdom portrayed in L. Frank Braun's book, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. I hate that movie, by the way. It refers to the same type of disorientation experienced by Braun's protagonist Dorothy after a tornado transported her from her black and white world to the realm of color. It was a brilliant way for the movie to portray Dorothy's transitions from the known to the unknown, and worked equally well to describe the Oz factor. Brad continued, I rounded the bend in the creek when up ahead about 55 yards was what looked to be like a big black bear that was digging in the bank of the creek. As I was setting my firearm down on one of the little islands in the creek, I snapped a branch and it stopped completely what it was doing. I froze and watched the thing as it stood up on two legs and started to turn around towards me. It stood 8 feet tall and had a huge wolf-like head, snout and ears of a dog, and all black fur. In the first encounter, the creature's fur was gray in color with some white. This one was all black. It kept glancing over to the east and back to me. It had not yet seen me. It put its snout in the air and looked like it was sniffing the wind. It completely freaked out at this point and reached I reached down to pick up my firearm and to get out of the area quickly when there was a splash up the creek. I looked up, and now this thing was on all fours, and it stood 5 to 5.5 feet tall. At this point, I don't want to run out of fear. That will make it chase me. So I stood frozen. It looked at me, snarled, and I thought that it was sizing me up. And then all of a sudden, it looked to the east, then back to me, one more time to the east, and took 2 giant leaps towards the east onto the bank of the creek. That's about 25-foot distance. Then it jumped towards the treetops and disappeared to the east. I stood there in total disbelief. I got home and my mind kept running and kept racing. So I decided to confide in my father about what I had seen, and he looked up at me as if I were an alien. He said I was crazy and I should get my head checked. I know what I saw. And creature number 3, the third and final encounter came on May 29th at 8:52 p.m. My dad and I were having a fire down by the creek, and we were getting low on wood. He asked if I would go get some more for the fire from behind the pole barn. I hesitated and said, in a few minutes, I was afraid of those woods, which is something I thought I would never say. After about 10 minutes, I started to make my way towards the back of the pole barn. It's just about dark, and I kept hearing this rustling and low growl like dogs were playing. And when I reached the back of the pole barn, it stops. I light a cigarette and looked out into the woods, which were 10 yards away. Again, the woods had gone completely silent. It was eerie. Then there was a sound like a zipper being zipped up. It was about 30 yards to the south. I waited for a minute and decided to look out to where I had heard the sound. As I glanced to my right, I saw something move. It was just about completely dark, and there was a stench in the air that was absolutely putrid. It smelled of rotting guts and urine. I figured it was a rotting carcass of a dead animal. And then, as I was shining my flashlight, a deep guttural growl, like a raccoon would make, came from the area I had heard the rustling sound. So I shone my light over towards the sound, and I saw eyes about 5.5 feet off the ground. The eyes were red in color and were very shiny. The thing I saw didn't have paws on the front. They were long arms and had hands with claws. I really didn't it really didn't freak me out, as a lot of critters have red eyes when exposed to light. Then this thing stood up on 2 legs. This thing was really tall, 8 to 8.5 feet tall. It growled again. It literally turned around and walked away to the south. I thought I had crapped myself. I came back home and my dad asked where was the wood. I said I didn't feel well and I was going to bed. I went out the next day to look around the area. I heard the noise. I found only a deer skin. The rest of the deer was gone, including the head. Also, 2 neighbors of mine have heard very eerie growls coming from the family woods, saying that they only come at dusk. They have been in the area for 50 plus years and said they have never heard a sound like the one that they have heard. And one more thing. I set apples out for the deer every week and noticed the other day that all the apples were gone, and a rock was in every place where the apples were. I have a trail cam on the area as I write this. I also found some tracks that look like a huge wolf's. There used to be a lot of deer around here at that time. We had a herd of 50 or so. Now you're lucky if you see 1 or 2. It's like they've all disappeared. It's been really strange around here for the past couple of years, and I don't know what to think about it. In all 3 of my encounters, the thing I saw reminded me of a werewolf. I no longer go near the woods. I was told by a family member that a lot of the wood acreage is Indian burial grounds. I don't share this with many people at all in fear of getting laughed at or called crazy. Thank you for contacting me back, and I hope I gave enough detail for my counters. So
spooky stuff. And I live right here in Southwest Michigan, where that first story was talking about.
well, all three of those are from the same person.
I love that though.
Yeah, that's crazy. That.
Yeah, definitely no, but I still love it.
I can't just bring myself to. I don't know what I would do if I saw a Dogman, really. So when we go to Bray Road,
fingers crossed.
We're gonna have to wrangle you, keep you from going to pet the puppies.
No, you're gonna have to probably stop me from pulling out my friend Sig.
Straight blasting.
Your freedom feeder.
Yeah, exactly, my freedom cedar. But all right, guys. Anybody else want me to read anything at all? We are coming up on an hour and 10 minutes, so we're going to be winding it down. So let me know if there are any other cryptid you guys want me to read about. Bigfoot, Dogman, I don't know, alien, whatever. I mean, I got a lot of stuff in these books, guys. So let me know. Steamboat's fawning over his new girlfriend. So y'all know if I see a Dogman, my last words were puppy.
Here, puppy. Yeah. Who's a cutie?
You're right.
Yeah.
See, what you do is you don't be afraid of that you're more powerful. Yeah, honestly, I've heard a lot of people say that Dogman definitely knows the name of Jesus and have been known to like just turn around and walk away when you start praying. So, but I don't know. I come pretty well armed with a lot of freedom seeds. So I wonder what a Dogman would taste like.
Wade says we got to keep it going. He just cooked a steak.
Oh, well, then give me something to what did you want me to talk about?
You said there are alien stories in there?
Yeah, I think I got some alien stories in some of these.
I would like to petition for one. I saw a UFO with my dad when I was younger, so I would love to hear some other alien stories.
And it's funny how Steamboat said Chupacabra because there is one in here, Chupacabra as well. Alien in Washington. I don't know if I read that one. UFO in California. I did read that one. Chupacabra in Texas. So I will read that one. Let me look at this alien in Washington, see if I did read it. I don't know if I did. See, alien in Washington. Nope, I did not read this one.
Yay.
Okay, so I'm going to read this one. Then I'm going to read Chupacabra. And then I'm going to read a Bigfoot one. And then did you talk about the Wendigo? I can. They're all afraid of us. Every single one. That's the hate us. Okay. Dogman, nothing. So seriously, guys, I don't know if I'm sounding weird or not. If I shoot the beast of Bray Road, I'm gonna eat it.
Like a leg, a finger. What are we talking?
I don't know. I might. Listen, Steamboat, you already got Chupacabra. I don't think I have a Goatman story in here.
Don't be greedy, Steamboat.
Yeah, don't be greedy. All right, here we go, guys. We're going to talk about Alien in Washington. This is Jen Davison. This is her story. She was interviewed in 2023. The encounter or sighting took place in 2016 in the Olympic National Park in Port Angeles, Washington. All right. So Jen says, Josh and I had been planning our honeymoon for almost a year. We'd both been married before, so we didn't see any need for a big, showy wedding. We just went to the courthouse where the Justice of the Peace made it official. We wanted to put all of our money into a honeymoon and the memories we'd make. We're both outdoorsy people. Josh is big into hunting and fishing, While I don't do either, I love camping, hiking, and kayaking. As such, we decided to spend our honeymoon in nature and chose the Pacific Northwest Olympic National Park, to be specific. Being there, surrounded by mountains and forest, far away from noise and the chaos of the city, was better than I ever could have imagined. It was just the two of us, and it felt like we were the only people in the universe. In the first night of camping, it was perfect. Josh and I cuddled together under the stars, talking about our future together and enjoying each other's company. I felt so happy and content, like I was exactly where I was supposed to be. But then, as we were gazing up at the stars, I noticed something moving across the sky. At first, I thought it was a satellite, but it moved too erratically. I pointed out to Josh, and he squinted up at the sky. "What is that?" he asked, sounding confused. "I don't know," I replied, feeling a little unnerved. "It doesn't look like a plane, does it?" As we watched the object seemed to as we watched the object seemed to get closer and closer. It was a bright light, pulsing and flashing in rhythmic patterns. I felt my pulse quicken, and as I watched it, feeling more and more uneasy the closer it came. After a few minutes, the object suddenly shot off into the distance, disappearing altogether. Josh and I looked at each other, both feeling a little spooked. "Maybe it was just a drone or something," Josh said, trying to reassure me. But I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. We climbed into our tent, but I had trouble sleeping that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw this strange pulsing light. The next few days were even weirder. We saw the same object in the sky, flashing in predictable patterns. We'd hike miles every day, but it seemed to be following us. And as weird as this sounds, I couldn't shake the feeling that it was watching us. One night around 2 a.m., I heard a scrambling noise outside our tent. It sounded like something was shuffling around in the dirt, and I felt my heart jump into my throat. I whispered, shaking him awake. "There's something outside." He rubbed his eyes silently, but then his expression changed as he heard the noise too. "Stay here," he whispered, grabbing a flashlight and unzipping the tent. I watched anxiously as he stepped outside, shining the flashlight around. At first, I couldn't see anything, but then the light lit up something that made my heart stop. The beam of Josh's flashlight illuminated a figure. It stood a few feet away from our tent, just watching us. It was humanoid, but not quite human. Its skin was dark brown in color and seemed to have a greasy appearance. Its eyes were huge and red. It seemed like it was staring right at us. "Josh!" I screamed, and the figure suddenly turned and ran away. I rushed out of the tent and to Josh's side. We could hear the footsteps crunching on the ground as it fled, and when we walked into the direction, we found the ground covered in a sticky, gelatinous residue, like the creature had left something or some sort of slime trail behind him. When she screamed, he pooped his pants. That's what he did.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
That's alien poo. It felt like we were living in some sort of sci-fi movie. We didn't know what to do or who should we tell. We were in the middle of nowhere and we had just seen something that we just couldn't explain. We cut our trip short and packed up our camp gear, eager to get out of the wilderness with back to the safety of civilization. When we reached to the nearest town, we stopped at a gas station to fill up. I so desperately wanted to tell someone that what we'd experienced, but who would believe us? For the next few days, we tried to put the experience behind us. We visited tourist attractions, ate good food, and tried to act like everything was normal. But the memory of the creature kept creeping up on me, taunting me in my dreams and making me jump at every strange noise. We ended up going home 2 days early, but for weeks after, I was still on edge. Only the passing of time allowed me to get some perspective on the situation and accept that things are out there I never believed in and couldn't explain. So they're saying things are out there that she never believed in and she could not explain. So that's pretty crazy.
That's creepy.
Very creepy.
I mean, hey, what's up, Tells? Told in the dark. What's up? What's up? All right, the next one we're going to be doing a Chupacabra. Let's see, Chupacabra in Texas. Where's that at? 155. 155. All right. Chupacabra in Texas. Do you guys know what Chupacabra means? Anybody know?
Bloodsucker or something like that?
Goat sucker.
Goat sucker.
It's a goat sucker, see? This sighting happened March of 2005. Hank is the eyewitness, and it was... Hey, Steamboat, let me know if you know where this is. Area of sighting was Mayflower, Texas. Around that area. Okay. Hello, my name's Hank, and my wife is Susie, and I had a peaceful life on our little patch of land not too far from Mayflower, Texas. Our 2-story farmhouse sat atop a small hill overseeing our farm and the animals we raised there. Our kids had grown up and moved on, finding their own paths in the world, so it was just me and Susie tending to our animals and working the land. We had pigs and sheep and chickens, and they all brought certain rhymes to our days. The pigs rooted around, oinking it with delight. The sheep huddled together like a big fluffy cloud, and the chickens pecked and clucked away, searching for something tasty to eat. Each morning I would rise with the sun, the warmth of the new day pulling me out of bed. I slipped on my old worn-out boots and made my way to the kitchen, where Susie'd already been up brewing a pot of coffee and frying me up some breakfast. The scents and her company started my day off just right. On one side of our farm, the woods stood tall, their thick foliage casting deep shadows. Sometimes I'd trapeze into their cool shade, which was welcome relief from the summer heat. But let me tell you about the night when things got strange. I'd been sawing logs when I was awoken from my sleep by the scared bleating of our sheep. I grabbed my shotgun, half asleep and half worried, thinking maybe coyotes were out prowling around. I didn't want to scare Susie, so I quietly slipped out of the house. As I stumbled towards a field, the full moon cast an eerie glow. I couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. And there, in the moonlight, I spotted an unusual and strange creature carrying one of our sheep into the woods. I couldn't make out the details, but it seemed to be walking on 2 legs, which made no sense at all. Before I could approach to get a better look or react in any way, the creature disappeared into the foliage, taking our sheep along with it. I cautiously moved to the spot where I had seen the creature. I found the grass all trampled, and to my dismay, 2 more dead sheep on the ground. Their throats were ripped open. The next day, as I burned the remains of the animals, I realized something quite out of the ordinary. Both of those sheep had been completely drained of their blood. There was not a single drop to be found. I couldn't help but stare into the woods, the same ones I had admired for years, and wondered what had brought such carnage to our little farm. I debated whether I should try to track it down and maybe find some evidence, but I chose to believe it was just a coyote and that my eyes had been playing tricks on me in the dark. Life went on, and we settled back into our old routines. A full month passed without incident. It was easy to pretend that it had never happened, but our peaceful obliviousness ended one night when Susie shook me awake, her voice trembling. "Hank, I think there's someone outside the house, she whispered urgently, her hand gripping mine. I strained my ears, and sure enough, faint footsteps echoed on the creaky wood porch. I reached for my shotgun out of instinct, only to realize I'd left it in the barn. I cursed myself for getting it, but there was no time to dwell on it. With more than a little fear, I made my way to the front of the house, this time with Susie by my side. I cracked the door open, my eyes scanning the darkness outside, the moon casting a long shadow under the porch. And then, in one of those shadows, I saw a blur of gray green skin. A creature darted out of the darkness, crashing into my chest and knocking me over off balance. I stumbled backwards, collided with Susie, and we both went down. We caught a glimpse of it as it ran off, bounding through the fields and into the forest. It looked like a lizard, but one of the size of a small, but one the size of a small bear. Its skin seemed to shimmer in the light of the moon. I sat there dumbstruck. I'd heard the stories, but it couldn't be real. I was losing my mind, I thought. Then Susie's words came from behind me. Hank, was that a chupacabra? She asked. I looked up at the full moon, its silvery glow again shining down over the land. I couldn't explain it, but the fear of Susie's eyes mirrored my own. Swallowing hard, I said, I think maybe it was. The next day, I found 2 more dead sheep and 2 dead pigs. All were completely emptied of their blood, and all of their throats had been ripped out. They were otherwise undisturbed and uneaten. Even the carrion hadn't gotten to them. In fact, it seemed like the other animals, the ones that would usually consume the remains of the dead, were avoiding them. I didn't even see so much as a small fly land on the carcasses the whole time. I burned them. It wasn't too much. It was too much. It was too real. And it was weird. We decided we couldn't stay on the farm much longer. We made the hard choice to put it up for sale. Thankfully, the real estate market was kind to us, and within 2 weeks, we bid a farewell to the only home we'd ever known. And that's your chupacabra.
That's really sad.
It is.
Yes.
Jake, what's up, buddy? Good storm's about to hit you. And how are you doing, Jake? Let's see who else is in here. I missed. Ashes is leaving. He's probably going to do his podcast. So if you guys, when we're done here, definitely head over to the Boom Boom Room. And he's going to kill some. That's what he's doing. So, all right, you guys. We got one more. Someone said Bigfoot. So let's get Big Daniel. Keep an eye on the weather. We are having a tornado watch in the Twin Cities. Are we really? What? Let me look. Well, I'll tell you right now, storms in Elk River right now. For real. A few years ago, a huge tornado ripped through Hugo, which is like 20 minutes, if that, for me. So let me take a look here. Stand by, guys. When I hear about bad weather, I immediately think about my mother-in-law. She immediately goes downstairs into the basement. Holy smokes. We do. Tornado. Let me check this radar.
It's a no thank you from me.
Oh, wow. We're going to get dumped on. Nice. My wife loves storms. I'm not worried about it, though. So, all right. Here we go, guys. I'm going to do a Bigfoot one. Let's see here. You guys know I did an impromptu live. I think it was Wednesday or Thursday.
Yes, I saw that. It was pretty cool.
I had fun. It was only an hour, but I was doing this number. Okay, guys, tell me when to stop. Tell me when to stop. Tell me when to stop. So let's see what we got here. All right, we want a Bigfoot story. I think Kirsten asked for a Bigfoot story. Let's see what we got here. I got to crash, y'all. Been good. Hey, Greasebag, thank you so much for coming in, man. You guys know how I met Greaseback?
Mm-mm.
I think I posted something on Reddit and he answered.
Hey.
Yeah, I was looking for interviews for Josh's show. This is before I even started my own.
Oh.
Yeah, so and then he's been a great friend the whole time. So good
That's
to both
neat.
teams.
That's
All
awesome.
right. Do we want to do a Sasquatch in Arkansas, one in Oregon, one in Washington, one in How about one in Yellowstone?
Oh yeah.
Let's check out the one in Yellowstone. Okay, so that's 200. 200. Page 200. Let's see what we got here. All right. The witnesses KG. The sightings took place in May of 94 and September 2003 in Yellowstone National Park. KG says, 1 second. Uh-oh. Guess what this guy's occupation is?
Park ranger.
Mm-hmm.
Ha!
As a park ranger in the majestic wilderness of Yellowstone, my duties revolved around preserving the natural beauty of this iconic national park and ensuring safety, not only for the visitors and tourists, but for the menagerie of animals that called the land home. I had the privilege of patrolling this vast landscape, ensuring the safety of visitors and foresters, a deep connection between people and nature. I cherished every moment of my work, for it allowed me to immerse myself in the untamed splendor of the remarkable place. One day, 12 years into my career, while engrossed in my routine tasks, a call cracked through my radio. It was a kind of call I had received countless times before. Campers reported a bear rummaging through their food supplies. I chuckled to myself, accustomed to the occasional exaggerations or mistakes made by tourists. It was easy to attribute such incidents to carelessness or overreacted imagination. Nevertheless, I promptly responded to the distress call, eager to assist the bewildered campers. Upon reaching the campsite, I expected to find the remnants of a ransacked cooler or food left exposed to temptation. But to my surprise, the scene before me proved I had misjudged them.
Hmm.
The campers had followed protocol, diligently hanging their food bags from trees, ensuring it was 12 feet above the ground. The bag still hung in the air, but it was shredded, its contents gone and presumably devoured. Something had reached up high, ripped open the bags, and taken the food. Despite my growing uncertainty, I feigned nonchalantness and attributed the incident to a crafty raccoon, offering the campers a plausible explanation. They seemed to believe it and piled into their station wagon to go buy more supplies. After they left, I surveyed the area. My eyes fell upon massive footprints imprinted in the soft earth. Curiosity compelled me to place my own foot beside one of those prints, revealing the staggering difference in size. These prints were nearly twice the length of my size 11 boot. That was a big boy. Hastily, I concealed the tracks, ensuring campers wouldn't stumble across them when they returned. Then I followed the trail left by the unknown entity, walking deep into the heart of the forest. Miles passed, and I ventured further, and I was almost ready to turn around and head back, but I kept wondering what might I miss if I did that. So I decided to continue on until finally I found myself staring at an honest to God Sasquatch. I'd guess the animal was between 7 and 8 feet tall. It was covered head to toe in very dense brown fur that was darker than any grizzly and lacked any sheen. I'd put it around the color of a walnut lumber. It had thick, powerful legs and long arms. Its head and neck sort of blended together. There was no differentiation. Again, here's another $10 word, guys. Differentiation. That's it. She said it. In thickness. The Sasquatch was sitting on a fallen tree, indulging in a box of Twinkies with unbrandished delight.
Who doesn't like Twinkies, man?
I hate Twinkies.
Oh.
The sight was so absurd and unexplained. I do.
Found
I
him.
Twinkies.
No claircognizant there, eh, Sabrina?
Nope, I did not see that coming.
What?
That you don't like Twinkies.
I hate them.
Really?
I think they taste nasty. They're disgusting. No.
Alright.
The sight was so absurd and unexplained that laughter involuntarily escaped my lips. Laughter that quickly tripped the creature's keen senses. For a moment in time, it seemed to stand still as our gazes locked. It was so surreal yet an exciting moment. And then, with an almost casual grace, the creature rose to its full height, casting a final glance at me before disappearing into the depths of the wilderness. I chose not to pursue the animal that had captured my attention, but I did my part by collecting the Twinkie box and wrappers it had left behind. The stench that emanated from the discarded litter was pungent, reminiscent of sewage and spoiled meat. I disposed of it as soon as I came across the trash can. As the years passed, rumors of Sasquatch encounters spread throughout the park. Reports of campers and fellow rangers hinting at the creature's elusive presence, reaffirming that I was not alone in my experience. However, I kept my experiences a secret, unwilling to subject myself to skepticism or becoming the butt of jokes for my less open-minded colleagues. 9 long years crept by when, as I embarked on yet another routine patrol, fate reunited me with the mysterious Sasquatch. It happened suddenly. A fleeting glimpse of the hulking creature crossing the road before me. Our eyes met for an instant. A silent acknowledgement passed between us, and then it vanished into the woods once again. Whether it was the exact creature I saw before, I'll never know. It looked like the same, though I'll bet with some gray highlights that stood out starkly against its brown fur. Maybe it was my friend who was just getting older, just like me. As luck would have it, I had a pack of Twinkies in my truck. I took one out of the wrapper, left the vehicle, and carefully placed it on a rock by the roadside, hoping that somehow it would find its way to the Sasquatch. I guess it was our little inside joke. Hours later, I circled back to my patrol. The Twinkie was gone. Logically, I know that countless normal animals would have devoured it, but deep down I hope that it found its way back to the intended recipient. Retirement eventually beckoned me away from my beloved post, yet the allure of the Yellowstone remains, and occasionally I still embark on aimless drives through the sprawling wilderness, eyes scanning the shadows in search of a familiar figure. To this day, the Sasquatch eludes me, but the memories of our encounters persist. That's awesome.
That's an awesome story.
That is, like, for real. That's probably one of my favorite stories I got to read. So
that's bittersweet though, because you think like so many years with the same Sasquatch, and then you have to retire, and then you don't get to see it anymore, and it's like.
Yeah.
Do you think it wonders? Yeah. Do you think it wonders the same thing, that you're not there? After you retire, when you're gone.
Yeah.
Twinkie wielding friend.
Yeah.
So Kristen, raspberry coconut zingers, absolutely, they're fantastic. Moon pies, They can be gross, but there's a concoction you need to do. Okay, trust me, I know this. I'm a big dude. I used to be guys, serious. I was like approaching 430 pounds at one time. But what I used to do with moon pies is I would take like a chocolate moon pie, a banana moon pie, and then another chocolate moon pie, and I would smash those suckers as thin as I could, and then I would eat it because I get a chocolate banana moon pie. Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, I was a big fat non-healthy eating person, but that all changed. So,
are moon pies the same as whoopie pies?
Yes.
Okay.
Are they? What's a whoopie pie?
I guess the same. My mom used to make them all the time, and it's literally just like chocolate on top, and then it's got like did she use like a whole stick of butter for each one? They were huge, and then it's got like the icing, like it's not icing, but it's like Maggie, help me out. It's like buttercream or
like a buttercream frosting, or
those are different because the moon pies are like graham crackers and marshmallows.
Yeah, it's got like a marshmallow and a vanilla cream center in them.
Yeah.
Huh. So I might be related.
Steamboat thinks you might be related.
Yeah, I know. Listen, you guys, I have so many different food concoctions. Like for real. I love just food, everything. Reggie, what's up, man? Good evening, everyone.
Hi, Reggie.
Reggie.
You guys, we're hovering around like in the 40s, which is good. So, but I don't. Do you guys want to go for 20 more minutes or no?
That's fine.
You guys are good. We have food trucks all the way down the street. I love food trucks. I really do. Oh no, buttercream frosting is so buttercream frosting is amazing. They're amazing.
Man.
So hope you're not hungry, says Lisa.
I'm a little hungry. That's kind of rough.
Oh, I just got back from before we started. I was out with my family. We went to a Red Robin.
Oh.
And I had the crispy chicken sandwich with some onion rings. Yeah, it was amazing. So, all right, you guys, let's name a couple more stories. What do you want to hear? Let me know.
Let's do another Dogman.
You guys want a Dogman one?
They're too interesting. They're just
way too interesting.
Yeah.
The scare factors.
Oh no.
I'm bringing out Linda Gottfried's book here. So let's see what we got here, you guys. Dogman, Francis says.
Now, while you're looking, what do you guys think about the fact that, like, a lot of tales about the Dogmen say that, you know, they've seen, like, one I heard was a hunter's tale, and he said he saw this thing in the scope of his gun, and he was going to take a shot out at a deer, but it ended up being, like, it was chasing the deer, and I guess it saw him up in his tree blind, and it, like, what do you think about, like, them actively following their people home?
Oh, I think they stalk people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So do I.
Do you think it's for, like, harmful purposes, or do you think they're just actually smart enough to be a menace?
I think both.
Both.
They're menacingly smart and horrifying. I think they love to scare everyone.
That freaks me out, that they're smart enough to follow you.
The Valley of the Headless Man. Is that the Nahanni Valley? Constantine?
Constantine, I'll have Neoma. I'll have Neoma tell that story because she knows about that story. She brought it to me. We were just chatting.
It's got a great story.
Yeah, it's crazy. She is such a great storyteller. Let's see here. You know what I think? I think we should do our next live on?
What?
Little people.
Now listen, we've talked about this. I'm short, but you don't have to bring it up to other people.
Listen, you know what I'm talking about, Smarty.
It's going to be all about you, Sabrina.
Well, because in Linda Gottfried's book, I've got Chapter 7, Hidden Little People, The Elf of Victoria, Canada, The Olympic Wood Elves, Oshkosh Gnome King, Alien Greys and UFOs. I don't think I'm going to read that part. Native American Little People, Chilean Cave Creatures, Golem Come to Life, the Puckwudgies.
Puckwudgies.
Yeah. cannibal dwarfs and pygmy prince,
Oh, they sound fun.
short squatch.
Sabrina related?
Possibly.
Wow.
You know, possibly.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Red
It's a long line of ancestral,
right?
short, hairy.
That's
Short
brutal.
Hairy.
Hey, we have to have fun.
We have to have fun.
Okay.
Appalachia does have the small oh Lord,
Puckwudgies?
with puckwudgies, but they also have the moon-eyed people, and they're the short little
moon-eyed people.
Moon-eyed people, the black-eyed children scare the shit out of me.
Yeah, that too.
Okay, let's do this Dogman story. It's called the Tennessee Twofer.
It was a joke. Come on.
Is that a short joke too, Steamboat? Is this what we're gonna do?
Wow.
Depends on where the belt, below the belt he's going.
How low is the belt? Come on.
How short is the joke?
Down by my knees. All right, here we go. Here's another report of upright unknown canids of the extra large kind that have also occurred only a few miles from what was once a very active Native American hunting land for several different tribes. It is now known as Burgess Falls State Park. The 4 cascade waterfalls of this preserve would have made this a special and sacred area to the area's indigenous people, as are most fresh springs. The Sparta area was home to the tribe led by a noted chief named Calf Killer, and was also situated near a charcoal lead mine whose entry the area tribes kept secrets in, which was never found by white settlers who searched mightily for it. So, in 2002 and then again in 2003, this is coming from what's this gentleman's name? Actually, it's from a young woman. I'm trying to find her name. I can't find it. So it says in 2002 and again 2003, I saw something that can't be classified, to my knowledge, any zoology in Northwest Sparta, Tennessee. I saw this thing twice, once with a neighbor of mine and once with my oldest brother. It was strange. It was a strange experience that I will never forget. The first time I saw this creature was in August of 2002. I was spending the night with my friend at my friend's house about 2 miles down Francher's Mill Road from my parents' farm in Tollingson Town Road, only about 5 miles from Burgess Falls State Park. It just so happens to be a full moon that night, and I remember this because it was unusually large harvest moon. My friend and I went outside to smoke a cigarette without getting caught by her parents. Being stupid young teenagers, we saw what appeared to be a cow out in the field behind her house and decided to try our luck at cow tipping. Well, that's not cool.
I'm just trying to sleep.
Cow tipping is a supposed pastime in which several people try to push a standing cow over on its side. It's considered a rural legend by many who have researched the possibility, since bovine can weigh between 1,400 and 4,000 pounds. The general consensus is that there's a slight chance that it could happen, though if the targeted cow was asleep while standing on a hillside. The dismal odds do not seem to keep hopeful young people from attempting this feat. Well, originally we were around 300 yards away from this animal. We were walking towards it, and when we got about 100 yards from it, this thing stood up on 2 legs and turned towards us. It was a light tan color, not white, but certainly light enough to be clearly visible in only moonlight, with kind of a shaggy hair. Not short like the cows. On all four on all fours it appeared to be the same size of a cow. Holy smokes. But then it stood up. This thing had to be nearly 8 feet tall. More than anything, I remember the feeling I got when it turned and looked at us. I felt like prey. Every nerve in my body told me to run, and I did, without looking back. My friend was faster than I was, but I remember hearing all sorts of panting behind me. I never looked back until we were in the house, and it was nowhere to be seen at that point. I don't know if it chased me or if I was hearing myself panting. We did stay to see, well, excuse me, we didn't stay to see anymore. We turned and ran as fast as we could back to her house and stayed inside the rest of the night. About 8 months later, early summer 2003, my brother and I were on our way to Wilmer Market, driving down Simpson Road about a mile from Highway 70. It was dark out, not quite totally dark, but most of the light had faded. A creature the exact same color, a light, almost sandy tan color with shaggy fur, ran out of the woods from our right, crossing the road about 15 feet in front of my brother's car, and then disappeared in the field to our left in about 8 seconds. I have never seen anything move so fast in my entire life. For the brief moment it was in our headlights, we got a good look at it. Its back was eye level with me, sitting. I was sitting in a Honda Accord. Its back legs were jointed backwards and moved like a dog. It had a pointed snout and pointed ears. It looked like a wolf, except for a 400-pound wolf. Its shoulders were higher than its back legs. It had a long, bushy tail. It ran by stretching its front legs all the way out and its back legs all the way out and brought them all together simultaneously, kind of like a dog would run. On the day my friend and I saw it, it was huge, shaggy, and its head did not sit on top of its shoulders. Its neck almost appeared to be jutting forward. What I saw that day was more of a silhouette. However, the day my brother and I saw it, it was absolutely beyond the shadow of doubt wolf shaped, but the size of a horse. It was so fast my brother did not even slam on the brakes as soon as it was on the other side of the road. I remember him yelling, "What the hell was that?" We looked behind us to see it disappear into the wooded area of the field. This thing was so big, its feet only hit the ground once crossing the road. I still, to this day, talk about it with my brother whenever we drive through that area. That was the last time I saw this creature, but about 2 more years after that, in either 2005 or 2006, my older brother and I went for a walk in a snowstorm. It was unusual because this is Tennessee, and we get about 8 inches of snow. We got about 8 inches of snow in a couple of hours. We went walking in some of the woods across from the family farm, and we found a skull. The jawbone of this skull was about 6 inches tall, with the skull sitting on top of the jawbone. The whole head was about a foot tall. It was it was carnivorous teeth in the front with grinding sort of molars in the back. It had an elongated snout. We ended up losing the skull several years later. I still look for it. The eerie part is that this skull looked like some type of hybrid between a human skull and a dog skull. It was about the size of a basketball. I'm fully convinced that what we saw those times was not a creature I know, and there is something about it that screams werewolf in my subconscious. My brother and I have since become obsessed with werewolf movies and folklore. I only wish we brought the skull home. We kept it in a particular nook in the woods because it was so alien. The only skull I had ever seen similar to this was a bear skull, but this was definitely not a bear skull.
That's creepy. That's really creepy. Also, we lost Mags again.
We did.
Yes.
Oh.
Also, I don't know how I feel about knowing that something can keep up with my car at such speeds, no matter what it is. That's a detail that really freaks me out, because you would think like I'm safe in my car no matter what it is, or my truck or my van, and you take off and that's, you're going 60, 65 miles an hour. You're like, I'm good. And then this, whatever it is, no matter what it is keeping pace with you. That's really.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't mean to burst your bubble.
Don't burst.
But I'm going to. You're not safe in your car.
I know.
You're not safe in your car.
I know.
I mean, there's so many stories of them, keeping pace with you in your vehicle, running right next to it, like literally trying to rip a door off or jump in the back of a truck or, ram into the side of your vehicle.
Crash you or get you off the side of the road or something.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
Have the scariest thing. So yeah, that's true. Constantine, what he said. This is pretty crazy. It's true. So, well, you guys, we are. I think we're done for the night. It is 2 hours and 56 minutes. It's now 11:25 p.m. my time, which means it's Sunday where you're at right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you guys, I want to say again, thank you so much for joining this live tonight. I truly appreciate it. Let's see if Mags messaged me. No, but I'm going to let her know. But you guys, thank you so much. Again, remember, we are doing a giveaway again. The last giveaway winner did not claim his prize. So if you want to be in on this giveaway for $2.99, you become a member of the Cryptid Podcast. You get an exclusive early access to the Saturday only release. I do that once a month, and then you get your name drawn in for a drawing for a hat and then a couple of little things. So you guys, if you've ever had an encounter, you'd like to come on the show, or someone who has, please email me at thecryptidpodcast72@gmail.com. And you guys, as my buddy Josh always like to say on Mysteries Unknown, everybody stay prayed up. And as I always like to say, remember, you guys, a legend begins with a sighting. Have a good night, everybody, and thank you, everybody, for your support. Have a good night.
See ya.
I got a strange going on out here. Something just killed my dog.
Something killed your dog?